unspeakable crime, murder at midnight. A deal I made, a life I had to take. Someone I loved once held so tight. The screens will follow me, cries of my ancestors said, go away. My operate, fasting in grain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal high inside me. I feel the change. I feel the change coming. We are one but not the same. This form I desire, innocent blood I will devour. Ancestors gathering round the dwelling, the spirit inhabiting, evil enveloping, the dancing graves in the night, the spirit occupying and transforming, stolen heights, dark practices, my secret life, feathered outers, mysticism, intriguing, my operate, fasting in grain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal high inside me. I feel the change. I feel the change coming. We are one but not the same. Give me the ability to hide in plain sight, so no one can see me, not even in the light. I am the crawler, armor within, I'm nobody's friend. This initiation is all part of the dark creation. My desires performing incantations. I walk in disguise. If I catch you, it's your demise. Shamanism, my religion, summoning spirits, manifesting myself and changing my flesh. A nightmare to behold. I'ma make you part of the fold. The skin of a man, the soul of a predator. The change is complete. This thing I become, my flesh has succumbed. My operate, fasting in grain, shape-shifting. I feel the animal high inside me. I feel the change. I feel the change coming. We are one but not the same.
All right, folks. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner. This is PRT. Join us in the real reality. The real reality. Look at this. The real reality. Pirate ghosts. That's the real reality right there. Let's see what we got here in the comments. Boy, I've been running all over the place today. We had to race back from the ranch. It was just one thing after another. Now, this is the Bradenton Marauders, I think is what it's called. So this is just their spooky vision hat. I think is what it is. Something dark side.
Which, speaking of, last night's episode was in Spooky Vision on the Patreon.
Was that on the Patreon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was it?
It was a story about the family whose aunt died, and the aunt was this really mean witch. She was a witch
or something, and
they had to clear out her house.
Okay, I remember. So that was up in Connecticut, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's in Hartford, I believe.
Hartford.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you guys gotta go join the Patreon, dude. That episode right there freaked me out. If I remember correctly, there was like a spirit of it looked like a little boy.
Yeah,
but it wasn't a little boy. It was a demon or something.
Yeah,
something demonic.
And it was like both a white-eyed and a black-eyed kid, because his eyes went from all white to all black, and then he had like these claws for feet whenever they saw him.
Mm-hmm. God,
ugly.
Dude. All right, enough of that. I remember getting that report, and it was weird. It was really weird stuff. Yeah, there were a few different people who I interviewed for that. The mother was really cool. She was a really cool woman. Like, she just had a lot of crap she had to put up with. Because I remember in that story, like, the lady that told me the story initially, like, her mother had to stay in that house by herself for a while.
Yeah.
Which was creepy, dude. Because I remember she was dating some guy, so she and that woman ended up staying there. So she ended up going and living with. I don't remember all of it. It's been a while since I took that report and retold it, but I think it was like she ended up going and living with somebody else for a while or something. They weren't even staying there because it was so.
Yeah.
It was a free house.
Yeah, they couldn't.
It was like
they
a free
couldn't
house.
stand it to stay there.
It was crazy. Like, imagine you're like, yeah, you win the lottery, you win like a 6-bedroom house.
Yeah,
it's haunted as hell. You can't even I'm not laughing at the people that it happened to, but it's just, God, just what a kick in the butt, dude. Life can be that way, you know. It's like, you know, here's a $5 off coupon for a brand new car. You're like, oh, so I'm not getting a car.
Yeah,
but
thanks
for the $5 coupon.
But if you were to buy a car, you'd pay $5 less.
$5 less bucks. 5 less big ones.
You got to take what you can get.
Mm-hmm.
In this economy, you know, $5 off a brand new car, of an $80,000 car.
Yeah,
might buy you a Kia.
Tomorrow, guys, I see Takayasha. You still haven't joined the members only. And who else we got? We got Mike Armijo Marmar, which is what we call our cat.
Yeah.
Hey, Jose Cortez. What's up, Jose? Still haven't joined the members only. Join the members only. There's still plenty of time, and you can see the episode tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask, what are you guys throwing on there for tomorrow?
Tomorrow is going to be. I think it's a story that we recorded similar to a Skinwalker, but it's like this skinless dog creature. I don't
that was the
know how to
one.
describe it.
There was one that was like, I don't know if you've put that one out yet, but there was one that was like a. It was like an entity, but it had smaller ones that looked like it.
Yeah, I haven't put that one out yet. I think that might be it.
That's not a Skinwalker. That's something else. I don't know what the hell that was.
I just know that whenever we recorded it, like before we recorded it, I had like I have to put some label on it, like to generally remind me of what it is, and I just labeled it like skinless dog. So, and then we talked about it afterwards.
Yeah, a skinless walker. So here's the thing. Hey, Orm, how you doing? He works with LA. That's his son-in-law, LA Marzulli. Tell LA, give him our best. Good guy, really nice guy, nice people. We've been blessed to work with some really good people in this field.
Oh yeah.
So here's the thing, though. I mean, we got to say this. Monday, I just wasn't feeling really well. Sorry about Monday. We missed it. We didn't do the day. We just couldn't. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop the members only tomorrow, and then we have the Friday is it the first episode with Sean?
No, that would be the second
episode with a guy named Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday we have the really short episode. So how about this? How about I try to make it one day this weekend? I don't know if it'll be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, because I got a lot to do. I got a full plate. I was out at the ranch all day today. But let's try to maybe do the call-in show sometime this week after one of the pre-records.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll do the call-in show. We'll get it done. We're going to make sure and make it up to you. We have a lot going on. And if you know, you know. Folks, if somebody asked me, because I was on Abe Seus's show, Spiritual Encrypted Encounters with Abe Seus, and I don't know how many people have actually went and looked at that show. It's been a lot. There was a lot of people messaging me, a ton of people. Like real people, not like everybody's reaching out to me and saying, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever, sure. I'm talking about real people, not bots. So let me see which episode that was. Called Wicked Delusional People Sold Out, like spelled like soul, like your soul, your heavenly soul. And that thing it's gotten 1,500 views. 1,500 views. And so, yeah. So, at this point going forward, we're not talking about, I've said what I had to say, and it's either going to do what it's going to do, So I appreciate everybody who's actually reached out to me, real people concerned and asking, and I just tell them, go watch that show. I'm not going to make an episode every day and say a bunch of crap about that situation. I'm done with that situation. I'm turning it over to who I need to turn it over to and let them deal with it. Best thing I can do now is just be quiet. That's what we all got to do. And let the chips fall where they may. Whatever God sees as fit, there's been unrighteousness on both sides of this conflict, and I'm done. I'm not the judge of this. We will let others judge this now. And so that's it for me. If you want to know my part, go to PRT News. All we do is take what they say, post it, and then go to that episode with Abe Seus, and you'll see it. And there's people who said some really mean, nasty things, and I don't care. There was only a couple people over there I considered friends that I was kind of surprised by, but everybody else I could give a crap. So, it is what it is.
We are making episodes every day, though, but we're making paranormal content that you do want to see. Mike Armillo says, really feeling the fall this year more than any other year. These daily uploads have been great. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate that, because we're really hustling this October.
So we're trying
to want to bring y'all the good stuff that y'all are here for, especially for October. It's a good month to just work on this.
We're here for the whatever, the festivities. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. We're here. You know, I'm not a big believer in Halloween. Like, I don't personally celebrate that day.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that stuff. I don't really dress up. I did one year. I dressed up as a pimp.
Mhm.
You know, and it was a joke, whatever. But then again, I don't really know what I was. People were saying I thought I looked like, so that's what I said, you know.
Yeah.
I just had a robe on. I was kind of actually going for like a Don Kingish, but then it just evolved into, you know, Pimp Daddy or whatever the heck. I don't know. And me, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the most pious human being. And I've never claimed to be. I've never been one of those that says that he's praying 12 hours a day. And I'm all, you know, who does that? You're not going to do that. You're going to be a dirty sinner, and you're going to make mistakes, and you just have to know that that's going to happen. Today, I was having a conversation with someone at a place that I like to go to and get these specialty foods and drinks. And the person there I was talking about, you know, and I just was like, well, I have an opinion, and I give my opinion on both sides, and I get attacked on both sides for it. I've said many things that just make people upset. They don't like it. They get mad. They get all in their feelings. But I'm not going to stop saying what I think is right. That's never going to happen. You're always going to get the truth out of me. I'm going to tell you what's what. And the problem comes with that when you admit to your flaws and you're dealing with fake pious people. What happens is they're like, he admitted it. But at the same time, they're not admitting to anything they did wrong. So then it makes it look like you're just this horrible guy because you admitted to some sin. And instead of them going, okay, well, I'll admit to my sin. No, what they do is they just say, yeah, I'm blameless. I've never committed sin, but he admitted he did. Yeah, because admitting is part of truth. It's part of truth. I think that's a word that a lot of people can't spell.
Can't repent if you don't admit.
You got to admit to what you do, man. You got to fess up, dude. I'm a sinner. I've made mistakes. I've screwed up. And you say things. Somebody says something. You say something back. You know, what you're supposed to do is not engage. But it's very hard. It's a very hard thing. But spiritual openings are a very real thing. And when you let spiritual openings take hold of you, you end up in a very bad place. Some of the people we were talking about tonight, they did that. They really did. And every one of these people I talked to tonight, tonight we're going to go over a story that I think is probably, we're going to start with this one. I think it's a skinwalker. That's what I think it is. And then we're going to get into, because it's upright canids. And this one is a possible dog man. I don't know. I mean, if people think there's a difference between that and a werewolf, I don't know. If we have time, I'll get into another one that's a werewolf, but definitely there's a black dog story too. So me, Anthony, Nelly, Tony, everybody here at PRT, we thought it would be a good idea to try to maybe like make an episode with each one, but we don't know if we can do that, because the problem with that is that the people that gave us the stories, they have stories of their own that go in depth way further than just the dog man. So we don't like to really just, we've kind of evolved the show into where we don't like to just talk about that one encounter, because that's not all that these people have suffered or gone through.
Got to connect the dots.
Yeah. So pretty sure we're going to get some more people in here, and just, you know, bear with us. There was something else that I wanted to say. And I can't remember what it was. Exactly, Excalibur. Yeah, and once you get in alignment with Christ, you got to stay in alignment with Christ. And one of the things that people like to do, and they get on these rants and whatever, and I've said some things that make people agitated, you know, on the left and the right. I mean, I've made no bones about where I stand. I've told everybody I'm pretty much politically aligned a certain way, and everybody knows that. Because I just look at common sense. I lean to the right. But I don't hate people because they are on the other side or whatever. You can still have a civil discussion with me. And I've said some things that I think at times could seem inflammatory or incendiary even towards the left, but I get people on the right too. that come at me and attack me because I say things that they don't agree with or whatever. And I'm never going to change my opinions about that unless you can provide me with hardcore facts. No, I'm not one of those people that's like, sources, where's your source? You have common sense. You know better. Okay. I've said many things and people don't like it. They get really bad. They get mad. And I had somebody the other day who I got attacked because I didn't agree with kosher or halal butchering. And this person, he's a Muslim, and he says he unsubscribed. He no longer listens to my show. And blah, 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 blah. I told him, I said, it's cruel. I stand by that. It's cruel. Coming from a cattle background, too.
Yeah. There are more humane ways to take the life of an animal.
Yeah. This image that people have created that I'm some kind of city slicker, goofball guy, whatever. No, I have roots very firmly grounded in the country. I'm from the sticks. And people can sit there and say, well, he doesn't talk like he is. Probably because I'm a little more refined. Maybe I decided that I didn't want to sound like that so I could get a job. How about that? Because when you move to the city and you walk in, you got a big old plug of chaw in your mouth, you're spitting it on the floor, and you're talking like this, maybe people don't, hey, well, maybe this isn't the guy.
Take you seriously, honestly.
Maybe this isn't the guy who we should give our business to. Or if you walk in, you're like, yo, say, what's up, fool? And you're doing this shit, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I'm down with all that, man.
Hey, yo, can I get a job, though?
Yo, can I get that job, though? Holla at your boy. Holla, 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 holla. And you know another thing, too, you know what I'm saying? But like, this whole should be tripping, man. Sometimes she come up in my baby mama, she might cause a problem, you know what I'm saying? But I put her in a place where I sell whatever you got, bro, for real. We selling vapes. What are we selling here? Cars. We selling trucks.
I'm gonna sell what you need. What you got?
What you got? What you need? I got it.
I got what you need.
Like who? It's. How about you talk like this? How about you just go in there and say, I'm looking for a job, looking for employment. We're not going to have baby mama drama up here, and I'm not going to get mad because I can't bring my AR-15 into the building, and because I need to feel safe. I need to feel safe. Where is the happy medium there? There is not one. There's not a happy where we can.
Yeah. Where's the normal at?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that guy?
That's the thing I don't understand. Like people, I've had both. We hear right here in this, we had a guy come up here to get a job. He sat right there across from us, me and Anthony. You know what he told us? He says, I can't work Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I'm like, okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's the middle of the week. Then he can't work Saturday. And he goes, and Friday I can work 4 to 8.
Yeah.
4 to 8. And I said 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. He says, no, 4. I can work 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. He says, I got so this is what he told me. He's what he said. He said, I have a fantasy football league. It's very important to me. And Anthony goes, okay, so you can work Monday. Maybe we can give you Sunday, Monday. He goes, I can work Sunday unless it's football season. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the guy, the grown man who had to ask his friends if it was okay for him to go to work whenever we called him up and said, hey, can you cover his shift?
The other guy had to babysit his girlfriend's dog.
Man. Yeah. One of them, I got to babysit my girlfriend's dog, and the other one, well, let me ask my friends if it's okay. Like these are like grown people.
These were grown adults. Grown adults.
Yeah. Do you want to work or not? I mean, it's very simple.
Another woman came in.
Get broke.
She said she was a single mother. This is what I'm talking about. She comes as a single mother. She's like, so my schedule, my scheduling is very limited. I said, really? So how limited are we talking about? She's like, well, every other week I got my children. I said, oh, so you can work a week and you can't work a week. She goes, yeah, but she's like, I'm a very emotionally supportive mother. So my children will call me all hours of the day and night. I may have to be on the phone with them for hours. I thought, oh, okay. So you got special needs children or whatever. No, her friend who was helping her get the job said her youngest was 17.
Jeez. Yep.
And I was like, And And then we literally had a dude that came in doing this. He came in here, and we'll get started here in a minute. He came in here like this. Not. It wasn't that bad. It was like Bosch. Remember him?
Yeah, yeah.
There it is, right here. Bosch, and he would keep it down like that. I think that's about right. Is that about right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Yo, Bosch."
But you got to keep your mouth hanging open.
Yeah.
You're closing it. There you go.
And then his pants were down. And I said, so I asked the guy, I looked stupid sitting there. I said, let me ask you a question. He was a son of a person that worked for us, the guy that used to work for us, who passed away. He was a very good guy.
Yeah.
He worked for us for years. He was his stepson. He apologized profusely for this kid. He comes in, he's like,
yeah.
He had glasses too. Well, I'll do the whole get up here. We got 356 here. Look, here it is. Right here. He keep him down. He'd always looking over him.
Yeah.
He'd be like this. That's what he would do.
Yeah. It looks exactly
and
like
he would hold this. He would do this. He would hold himself like.
Yeah.
And I told him.
He'd be holding this belt buckle.
I told him. I said, if you had on normal size pants, you wouldn't have to hold yourself like that. He goes, yeah, that's how I roll. That's how I roll. And he was on post. I said, okay, well, you don't dress that way on post. I said, you're going to wear a pair of pants that fit, right? No. It was a very busy weekend. So I go there to check on the guy. And he was laying back in his car. He was laying back, yo.
He was chilling.
He was chilling up in his car. Indo smoke. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Paula, for that donation. Indo smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like, first you just sit then I choke. That's what he was doing. That's what he was doing. He was laid back with his mind on his money and his money on his mind, And I walk up and I'm like, hey, buddy. He like, oh, what's up, boss? He leans forward like, I'm thinking he's going to like lean forward correctly to where you're supposed to actually sit and be able to watch the site. No, he just leaned up enough to where he could kind of talk to me. He said, hey, boss, what's going on? I said, don't call me boss. I said, I have a name, it's just Turner. You can call me that, Mr. Turner or whatever. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, T. Didn't give him permission to call me T either. I said, what you needed to do is let me see if you're wearing your uniform. And he wasn't. His pants were hanging down. You could see his drawers. Right? I said, this is a violation. You're not supposed to be dressed like this. Where's your name tag? It's on the floorboard. Oh, I was looking for it. Yo, let me see if I can find that. Through all the Wendy's and McDonald's wrappers. Couldn't find it. And but he had his Texas Rangers hat on sideways. That was he was repping. Right? Much love to the TX.
Oh, of course.
And I said, okay, well, cool. I said, well, you know what? You don't have a job. Oh, you gonna do me like that? You finna do me like that? He starts looking me up and down like we got beef, we gotta eat. I said, whatever you gotta do. Well, I'm gonna roll out. I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna roll out. I said, okay, thank you for doing me a favor. Don't beat me up. Please don't hurt me. Thank you, sir. I was terrified out of my mind. You're containing your anger because you have to. You got to maintain decorum. This is a professional job. So then you go and you have to sit the post for the next 6.5 hours because Goober is not going to change his ways. Had another guy came in, spit on my floor. Spit right on the floor. Just spit right. He missed the trash can is what he did. He missed the trash can. Comes in wearing boots, which is perfectly fine. I have a lot of family that wear cowboy boots. These were not, they were dirty. They were very dirty. He tracked mud all on the car. I said, whoa. I said, what do you got there? You got mud all over the, oh, there was, I didn't understand what the hell he was saying. But he smelled like a fifth of Jack. And I said, sir, who are you? What are you doing here? He says, I'm here to try to get a job. I'm so-and-so. I was referred by so-and-so. And he had this chaw I used to dip and I used to choose. I know how it is. Am I lying? He was dribbling off of his chin.
No, it's the absolute truth.
And I said, dude, what down his shirt?
Mm-hmm.
Had a few people work for us that did stupid things like that. It's okay to just pull up, smoke come out of your car, and you're smelling the that stanky smell with the cigars, where they're smoking. Cheap cigars, which I don't mind a good cigar, but these are cheap cigars. And then he's dribbling the whatever, then he spits and misses the trash can. I said, "Sir, you need to leave my office." "Oh, you got a problem, huh? You got a problem, city boy?" But he didn't even say it like that. He said something like, "Oh, I can tell you're from the city. You don't understand nothing about people like us."
Yeah.
I said, "Sir, I was born and raised out in the country until I moved into town when I was a teenager. And it was like culture shock." I said, "But I've never once walked into somebody's office to get a job dressed like I just came from, processing cocaine," because he had like crap all over him. He said he was helping him do some demolition. I said, "You couldn't have changed? You come in here looking like you got powder all over your body?" And it didn't make him smell any better. He could have put some nice powder on or something. Anyway, he spits and he misses. I said, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Please get the hell out of my office." He go, "Or what?" And we were about this close to each other. And I said, "Sir, I'm being nice." But people, they don't do that. They don't be nice. They take it as far as they can with you, and they push you and they push you. Then when you say something to them, then they run and tell everybody what a bad guy you are. It's the same thing it is in all of the communities that I've been in. It's just how it is. People are very, very nasty. They're very mean. They say a lot of mean things. You got the little guy? You want to bring him over here so I can say hi to everybody? Yeah. Got a surprise for you folks. It's a very, very, very cool surprise. So yesterday, well, it started day before yesterday, one of our job sites, and that we found something. It's a wild animal, but it ended up disappearing, and we didn't know where it went. So Scorpion had called, and him and Tony, they were working a post together, and they said, "Hey, it's flown away," but it didn't fly away. Because I think its wing is damaged or something, or maybe this was somebody's idea of a pet, which is you're not supposed to have them as pets. But I think that somebody did. But yeah, you can just bring him here. There. Get him up here. Come on, buddy. There we go. Look at that. Look at that.
Just chilling.
What a sweetheart. This, folks, is a spotted owl. And our guard found it, but then we thought he or she had flown away, but they couldn't. And then they were found again yesterday in the bushes. And so we recovered it, and we are going to be taking it to a sanctuary after the show. Oh, well,
Come here, buddy.
It can fly a little bit.
Bubba.
Let's put it that way.
Oh.
So it's a very cute little thing, but they are not pets, and so it has to be taken to a sanctuary. So they were closed when we were going to try and take it yesterday. It was already a done deal. But in the morning, that's where it will be going, so that they can help it. Because I don't know if somebody tried to make it into a pet and maybe they did something to its wings or what. But it, let's see, want to put it back over here?
Yeah.
Let's see, just put him down right there.
There we go.
We named him Archimedes, at least temporarily.
There you go, buddy.
Archimedes. Look at that. And he is very cool. He's a very cool dude.
He's very camera shy.
He's camera shy, obviously, but he likes me. He's been really friendly. So anyways, we thought we'd show you that. I believe it's a spotted owl, and they are very rare. I think it's a spotted owl. And what I think, too, is that this little dude, I think somebody tried to hold on to it. It's a juvenile.
Baby.
And we're going to get it to the sanctuary tonight. Well, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't want to hurt because I don't know if the foot is okay. I don't want to hurt it. Okay. Yeah. See, because if he doesn't want to jump up, because of that, the other leg looks like he's not trying to use it. See, that's why I don't want to hurt him.
Just show Anthony holding him.
Yeah. Let me put the camera on Anthony so you can get a good look at the little dude. But the camera is not working.
Is it working now?
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Here we go, buddy. You gotta turn around for the camera. He does not like it. You don't like the camera?
He
either?
is eating though. That's a good thing. He's had an appetite. It's not like he's not.
Be okay. With your little gyroscope head.
Let me see if I can get his attention. You have to turn your hand maybe a little bit. There you go. And his head, he just keeps turning his head away. He's like, no, we're not doing that.
Little gyroscope head.
There
buddy.
he goes.
Yes,
Cute little thing. Look at
Let's get your itchies. There
There
you go.
Call him Archimedes, or what was it, Boba?
Bubo from Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
So as soon as the show's over, we'll be taking it to, because this camera is not. Why is this button not working?
I don't know. It's
Okay.
weird. Is it not working?
Mm-mm.
Goes down.
This isn't good. I'm not gonna be able to. If I have to switch the cameras, it's not gonna work.
That's what I'm saying.
I wonder how do we fix this problem here?
I don't know. Do you
Really?
need it?
The
Amy asked a question: are its flight feathers clipped? I don't know.
No,
I don't. They're not. Okay, because we were wondering that too yesterday.
No, he can fly pretty decent.
Yeah. I wish I could. I can't switch the camera. Is there a reason why the buttons are? None of the buttons are working.
maybe the keyboard battery.
Got a lot to say.
You want to say that into the microphone?
No.
There you go.
This light here is blinking.
Yeah, that is
On number 2.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
No,
what I'm
because when I
saying.
touch it, exactly. No, I think it's
Mhm.
it's
That's
making,
what I try to tell them all the time, but nobody listens to me. Exactly. See? You tell them. You tell them.
Well, let's see. Maddie, go hold the bird and let Anthony have food.
Can you? There you go. I figure out how
Are
to
you
use
scared?
the buttons are not working on my thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll do it.
He's fine. He's not gonna.
you're scared of him?
No, he's adorable, but his scream is terrifying.
He doesn't
He's
even.
all right.
It's terrifying. He's not
I said
terrifying.
I said his scream.
He's not terrifying at
I
all.
just, oh my gosh.
Just put him on the table, I guess, if Maddie's too scared.
Oh, I'm trying to hold him, but he's not.
Somebody asked, "What does he eat?" He likes raw chicken.
Raw chicken. I've been feeding
Like
him raw
most
chicken.
Birds of prey. They'll eat. If you ever catch one, and don't go out trying to catch them. But if you ever end up
He
with
found
one,
Or he was found.
yeah, he was actually in the parking lot at one of our sites. If you ever have to deal with one temporarily, like we are until tonight, raw chicken. That's the best thing you can do. And he eats. He's eating. I've given him some.
That's good.
Yeah. Hold on one second, folks. I can't do anything because my keyboard quit working. What's going on?
This is connected.
Anyway, we got to get started on the show now. We got enough people in here.
Picture of you with the owl at the studio.
Hmm?
Good picture with you on Archimedes.
Well,
I used to take his telephone.
yeah, just send him on. I guess he'll come. He's looking at the light. What's up, buddy? We'll get you to the sanctuary tomorrow. Yeah, I don't want to push him like that. See, and then he ends up flying. That's why I don't want to do that to him.
I think you just need new batteries.
Do we have any?
I can go check.
His sound is terrifying. Ugh. His roar is filled with horror. The very earth will break. Man is screwed up once again. Now God has sealed our fate. Baby owl. That's how Maddie's acting like it's
Oh
gonna
my god.
it's gonna tear her eyes out and terrorize her.
Don't worry about him getting
We're
caught.
going to attack you with this small mountain cat to terrorize people. Try to get him. Don't leave him. He's afraid now. Anyways, after the show, we got to take him. We're going to meet the people to give him to the sanctuary. So We did our best to take care of him while we had him. And it's a good thing we refound him because we thought that he was gone. And I think it's just a matter of not luck. I don't believe in luck. I don't want to say that, but it's a matter of like,
Juicy fruit.
the will of God that we found him. Let's put it that way. Rogue Status says, might be a familiar sent to do God knows what, all cute and disarming. Then he gets inside the house and he's like, ah, it turns into a freaking Lechusa, right? You'll end up one of those, a haunting. It's like, they thought he was a normal owl. Little did they know he was a Lechusa in disguise.
Here to ask about your car's extended warranty.
Oof. Come on. Good boy. There we go. There he is. See if we can get him to look at the camera a little bit. He keeps turning his head. He's not a camera guy. There it is, right there.
Look here. Look.
Okay, well, we need to put him back in his little enclosure we gave him so he can rest. And I'm assuming that Tony fed him earlier.
Yeah.
And he's very gentle too. Like that's why I think somebody tried to have him.
Try to domesticate.
Yeah, and then it didn't work, and they just said, whatever, because he probably was too much to handle. I mean, because he was just hopping around outside of an apartment complex. I mean, or in an apartment complex.
Oh, like inside the complex?
Well, no, I mean he was right there, not inside the complex. What do you mean inside? What is
in the
inside?
hallway or something?
No,
Okay,
no.
like-
You may go now. Okay. Don't be all scared now. Don't be scared of the owl. Okay. But anyways, I thought it would be cool to show you guys that. And so he likes us. But he was kind of freaking out because there were a couple other people at the complex that were running around trying to grab him. And I think he was scared of them.
Yeah.
And we were like, we don't need your help because obviously he's terrified of you for whatever reason. Yeah. Did you get batteries?
We don't have any here right now.
Okay. Give me 1 second, folks. So anyways, hopefully,
Yes.
I don't think that's her. Hopefully not, because that's the cutest I would have ever seen her. But yeah. Thank you. Okay.
86. So it's a battery powered owl.
Yeah, because of the
It's a Bubo from what was it? Is it Clash of the Titans
Clash of
or
the
the
Titans.
Beastmaster?
No, Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
That's the screech of that thing is, but he's small. He's a baby. That's why
Yeah.
he sounds like that. Oh, and don't forget, get your Buffalo Bills body lotion.
Yes.
Since 1991,
Don't
right?
forget to put it on your skin.
it puts the lotion on its skin, or it goes to the LBL again.
You don't want that hose.
You know,
You don't want it on you.
did you hear what I said? Just be careful. All right. So, anyways, so the first story we're going to talk about here comes from some women from. It was two women. I say women because even though one of them's the mother, one's the daughter. The mother is 44 years old when this happened. Her daughter was 23. And they were going to a not a conference, a show. It was like this. I forgot what it was called, but it's like let's put it this way: it was like a hobby for women or whatever. And I'm sorry, I can't remember what it was that you had told me y'all were doing because the story was what really was important. But this was weird. Okay, so I literally was talking about this subject. And then with another witness, while I'm on the phone talking to this subject, that literally lives like another town over, right? The message comes through. Now, every now and then, if you're lucky enough and you're trying to get a hold of me, you might message me and I'll be looking at my phone and I'll message you back pretty quick, but that's not usually the case. But sometimes it will happen. And I saw this message and I was sitting there talking and it came through. And it was literally someone telling me about a skinwalker. And I thought, that is weird. Because where these women, I'm not going to say the name of the town. I will say this: it's outside of Santa Fe, where they were at, not where they're from, but where they were at. Okay, and they're from a really small town near Roswell. Well, not near it, but because there's nothing near it.
Yeah.
No, but in that direction. But where they were at was in Santa Fe for a. It was not a conference. It's one of those where I think it was like where they make like jewelry with stones and stuff like that. I think it was, but I forgot what they called it. Some kind of show, right? But they had gone to Santa Fe for the weekend. This was several years ago when this happened. The weird thing is, though, that I got messaged while I was talking to Miranda. I'm sorry, Melissa, the mother, and then Miranda is the daughter. That's not Miranda's real name. Her real name sounds similar, but I'm just going to call her that. It's whatever. And that's not because they weren't okay with me saying their names, because one of the women from this other story, name sounds very similar, but both their names were Miranda, which was weird. Not the one that had just messaged me, but from another story we're going to talk about. So I agreed to call her Miranda and the other one Melindra, right? So that there won't be any confusion. So this story, the woman, the mother's name is Melissa, the daughter's name is Miranda, and they went to this crafts. I know that it's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me, but it's some kind of like conference or whatever show. It's a show, and so they go there, and they had bought a few things, a few items, and a couple of the things that they had bought were made of silver. And I don't know, maybe this is kind of weird. So they went to a grocery store in a parking lot, and they had gotten some food, and they were sitting there and they were eating a rotisserie chicken. I think everybody knows what rotisserie chicken are, right? So they were sitting there, and Melissa the mother was eating the rotisserie chicken. Her daughter was eating a sandwich, like a chicken salad sandwich, something like that. And she said, this food the sandwich tastes weird. Now, I have a rule. Okay, when it comes to sandwiches, I try to stay away from tuna salad or chicken salad that's prepackaged, has been sitting somewhere, because you really don't know how long, and it's got all that mayonnaise, dude.
Yeah.
And you're playing roulette with your stomach. You're playing stomach roulette. And so she says, I'm going to go inside and get something else. She says she ends up going inside. Her boyfriend calls her, right? She goes to the back of the store where the restroom is. What happened was an employee there at the conference at the show in Santa Fe, and it was in the evening, and it was already dark because it was not in the wintertime. It was late fall, and she said wasn't really paying attention. This is like one of those things where you're just like, it just happens, which a lot of times when it comes to the paranormal or cryptids or any of this stuff. Even with alien abduction, sometimes you'll hear about it. It's like you're just there doing one thing, and then the next you're like something's happening, and it's not. You don't even have any warning or anything. That's what Miranda was saying. She was like, I went to the back to find the restroom after I had told them. I went to the counter and said, "Hey, this chicken salad doesn't taste good, and I don't want to get sick. Can I exchange something else? Sure, go get what you're going to get." She's like, well, I need to use the restroom. So she's on the phone with her boyfriend, not really paying attention. And she goes back to the deli area to go try to find something else. And she says to the counter person, this isn't real late at night. It's like 7:30 at night. I mean, it wasn't like they were about to close or there was nobody around. She said it was kind of dead. There wasn't a lot of people there. It was a Sunday. They were heading back from the show. And she's like, I wasn't expecting like anything like, this to happen. Because there were people around, even though it wasn't like packed with people and they weren't like just bustling everywhere. And she said that she stopped and just asked in my words, he seemed like an innocuous guy. She's like just a regular guy that she thought that worked there. and he was putting out meat like ground beef and things like that for the in the market area. And she's like, I got to use the restroom real bad. Where is the restroom? She said, literally had her phone like this, you know. And she told her boyfriend, she goes, honey, can I call you back? I really got to find a restroom. Right? And he's like, okay. Guy tells her, you know, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, the way he described it, she goes, maybe it was me not paying attention, or maybe he did it on purpose. I don't know. That's the weird thing about this. She's like, I end up going through the swinging doors into the back of this grocery store. And she said, I was in the back kind of looking around. I didn't see anybody. I saw, you know, like racks of meat and then racks of produce and things like that. And obviously there were people that were coming and going. And she's like, I saw one person go through the doors on the other side, like down the hallway. So I went in that direction because I thought I saw them go into a room. And she thought, well, maybe that's where the restroom is. She didn't realize that she had not been paying attention to the point where she was in the back of the building. She knew that, but she thought maybe that's where the restroom was. She gets back there and she's like, there's no restroom here. She said, and I don't know how the hell I did this. She goes, and I must just be dumb. But she didn't sound like a dumb person. But she opens the back door to the building. And it was one of those, she said it was ridiculous that I didn't even think about it, but it was one of those push doors. And she goes, and I end up walking out and the door closed behind me very quickly. And she's like, oh, crap. She goes, I'm in the back of this building. She goes, and I was extremely frustrated. She's like, it was bad. I had to use the bathroom really bad. She goes, and it was like, just, you know, she's like, I don't know what I was going to do. She goes, and then I turn and I look, and there is this little hill, like kind of like a little, just a small little incline with a street right there. She's like, so I just decide, you know what? I have my cell phone. I called my mother and said, Mom, come around the back of the building. Come around the back. And she says, there was like a truck that was there kind of like to her right. She's like, you can't go back and just pull in. There's a truck back there that's backed up. That's being unloaded. She's like, but there's a little fence, you know, and she's like, so I just walked through the fence and I was like up on the street. I said, can you come get me up on the street? She goes, what are you doing back there? She's like, I don't know. She's like, I just ended up back here. Now, Melissa said that her daughter has a habit, like she can get lost. Like she can't multitask, right? And that's true for all millennials. It's just something they can't do. You can't do it. No millennial known to mankind has been able to multitask up to this point. We are hoping to find a specimen that can literally do one thing good on their own if they're a millennial. But sadly, science is still stumped. And then it's getting worse with each subsequent generation. You know how it goes, to the point where eventually everyone's just going to lay there like Wall-E, and we're just going to float around and we're going to have no way to do anything because, well, y'all did that. So anyways, she's don't say anything. You did that.
I'm sorry, who raised us?
I didn't raise you. So what are you talking about? I got you when you were already defective and broken.
Oh, so we raised ourselves? The previous generation
pretty
didn't
much,
raise us?
No, because the people that
I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about.
I'm just saying, but like people that raised y'all,
yeah,
they were raised by boomers. So
Uh-huh.
y'all on the right track of being mad at them. Be mad at the boomers. Don't worry about us. We took care of ourselves. We thought y'all could do the same. We made the mistake of thinking y'all were normal. Y'all not. So anyway, enough of that. So she's in the back. Her mom goes around the back. She goes, I had to go out the street down this shopping center, go all the way around and go get my daughter. She's like, I go to get my daughter, and my daughter is like running to jump in the vehicle. She's like, I got to get to the bathroom. I don't know where it is in that grocery store. She said, okay, well, just a little store right here. We'll stop, and it probably got a restroom. It was like a Subway or something like that. And so she says, as soon as we go turn around, like I go to do a U-turn, our lights hit this creature that's running out from the bus stop into the road. And she says, Wolf, let me tell you. It's funny, the mother called me Wolf, the daughter called me Josh. You call me whatever you want. Everybody else called me something different. Anthony, you've heard people talking to me, and they always call me different stuff. And some people call me Will. They think my name is, I'm like, it's Wolf, it's Will. Like, okay, Will. Thank you, Mr. Will. So anyway, they see this thing. And she's like, they both kind of start talking at the same time. She's like, I got to tell you what it is. And Miranda's like, it had these really long limbs. And then the mom was like, and it had this weird hair. So, and they start talking at the same time. And whenever that happens, I got to go, okay, hold on, one at a time. And then they both started talking again at the same time, about 2 or 3 times. And I said, look, we'll start with you, Miranda. You were the one in the passenger side. You said you had a better look. You said you had a better look. And the mother was like, no, I did. And I said, okay, then we'll go with mom, because mom, we'll go with you, Melissa, because you are older, probably wiser, and you're not a millennial. So mom, this happened like 6 years ago. Right? She's my age. She's smart. She's my age. So she goes, let me tell you what happened. She goes, I saw it. She goes, they had long limbs. She goes, and it looked like a dog, kind of like a greyhound with these really long, skinny limbs, but the body was kind of more like it was rounded in the middle, like there was more meat on it, And then she goes, and where the hips were, she said, where the hips were, that should have been like dog legs. She goes, they almost looked like human legs that were, you could see the foot coming down on the leg. She said, man, it was the weirdest thing. She goes, at that point, this thing had not stood up and freaked me out. And then the daughter's like, okay, let me explain. She goes, there was a guy, a dude, a whitish gray haired guy sitting at that bus stop. He was standing at his bus stop. She's like, he was leaned on a stick. I said, oh, so he was Gandalf, right? She goes, no, he didn't have anything. She was weird. It was so weird. It's late fall and it was chilly, right? She said it was probably like 50 degrees outside. And this guy was wearing nothing but the way she described it was like underwear or a diaper. It was just like a crazy old homeless dude leaning on a stick, right? Mm-hmm. And she said that it looked like he was wearing like the shortest shorts or like underwear or a diaper. And so I told her, I said, that has to be a boomer, because that Gen X people don't do stuff. We don't do that kind of stuff. Once again, we're going back to that because that's how people are. And I said, look, you saw this guy at the bus stop. She goes, yeah, I did. But when I got in the car with my mom, she goes, he was gone. And then there was this dog-like creature. She said dog-like. They didn't say it looked like a wolf. She said, and it was running. That's why I said upright canids, right? Is that what you call the show?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Goes across the road. She goes, but then we slammed on the brakes because we thought we were going to hit it because it turned real quick like it was going to go back toward us. She said, in the side of its face, you could still see like where it looked kind of human, like the beard was there underneath. Like, can you imagine a dog head and there's still like a white beard kind of, and it's like falling off of it. Yeah. Like literally said it was falling off of it. And she said, she goes, we looked at this thing and we were like, what is that? She goes, and then it stood up. It stood up real quick. She goes, and real quick. And she goes, and then there was like a smack on the side of the car. Like it was mad. Like, I don't know what it was mad about. Like we didn't hit it because it turned around and kind of come toward us. And I told her, I said, you know why it was mad? Because you saw it. Because I don't think it was, being honest, I don't think it wanted to, I think it was going toward the trash can because there was a bunch of food. She's like, it smelled back there and real bad, like they had thrown a bunch of refuse away. And she goes, and all I could think of was like, that thing is going toward, it was big too. She said it was tall, like about 4.5 feet at the shoulders, right? And she said that this thing was going toward where she had saw that guy go out there, I guess to throw the trash away or whatever. And I said, oh my gosh, can you imagine people going back there every night, right? And you're not even thinking about it. You're not even thinking about it, man. So I found another encounter very similar to that happened in the back behind a grocery store here not in Austin, but in Cedar Park. You want to try to see if that works? There you go. And so I thought it was odd. I thought it was really odd because I was like, I wonder if I have any more of these. I found a few. We've talked about one on the show where people had gone to the back of a theater in Northwest Austin near Lakeway. And I interviewed one of these people in person. I managed to meet them in person. And I talked to them just a few years ago. And they literally are working at a convenience store. They were working at a convenience store at that time. And they told me what they saw. And she was like very adamant, like, look, this is what I saw. And we all went there and we talked to them. Well, here's what's weird. This thing with the grocery store or whatever, she said, man, I couldn't even imagine. She's like, if my mother hadn't come and got me, what could have happened to me with that thing? So I asked the question. I said, did you get a good look at the guy? Of course she did not. She just said I just remember seeing like a grizzled old homeless guy there, leaning on a big tall stick, and he looked like he had a whitish gray, long hair and a beard. Could not tell me if he looked Caucasian or if he was native or Hispanic. She just said she was pretty sure he wasn't black. She just knew that he wasn't that dark. He was and then the color of the animal was like a grayish color. Weird thing. So here's the thing. When it turned and it like swung out at the car, whatever, her mother veered off, hit the curb, did not, luckily for her, they did not bust the rim or mess up the tire. They just kind of ended up knocking the vehicle out of alignment. They drove back that way. When they got back, her dad took it in and all was okay. They just had to get it realigned. One of the things that they told me, and this came up, it wasn't me. I didn't go, oh, you saw a skinwalker, because I don't know what the heck you saw, but I ask them, and I always do this when I interview people. I said, well, what do you think you saw? And Miranda answered right away. She's like, a skinwalker. The mother's like, I don't know, a dog man. I don't know, maybe a skinwalker. I don't know. Don't know what that was. All they know is, well, the mom didn't see it, but the daughter did. That there was a guy there. He was gone, and now this creature was in the road. And it wasn't a real busy road back there. It wasn't very busy. One of the things she said, too, she said that it was weird. She's like, when I went into the back, I had bought a silver turquoise ring. I was wearing it. And she's like, and I always had this feeling that thing didn't come at me because of that ring. And I was like, you really think that? Like, this is not me thinking this, because I don't know. But she thinks, yeah, she says, I had this weird feeling, like I kept looking at my ring and it was very pretty. She's like, but I kept thinking, this ring's going to protect me. Why she was thinking that, or why she would think that she needed protection. Did she sense something subconsciously that was there, that thing was there, and that she needed protection? I don't know. I cannot tell you that. I don't know. I don't have any more information than that. And then there's more. Some stuff went on when they got back home. But this is a show tonight where we're just going to go over encounters of cryptids. So we're not going to get into some of the weird things that happened later on. We will one day maybe revisit that and get back to it. Thank you to Melissa and her daughter, Miranda, for giving us that story. But here's a story I can use to add to that. Now, this one I picked up. And this one comes from a guy named Timothy, and that's what he calls himself, Timothy. And I thought that was kind of funny, because I always thought Timothy, somebody calls him, so they call him Tim. They're going to say Timmy or Tim, whatever, but he calls himself Timothy, and that's what he called himself. So I asked him, I said, what do you want to be called? He said, Timothy. I said, okay, we'll call you that. Timothy N. Okay. So N, this is, and it don't matter to me. I mean, he said I could say his name, but I don't care. It's better to just say his last name, first letter, whatever. He was driving, and I think I know the area where he was at. It's in southern Cedar Park. And he was driving, and there's this, what do you call it? A grocery store. And in the back, there's all these pallets. There's just a bunch of pallets. And he said that he was driving to his girlfriend's apartment. He's like with her, right? And they see this older homeless guy, and he was a black guy. He was actually like messing around with the pallets, like he was trying to get them or something. And it was weird. He was sitting like he was kind of leaned off in his truck, and then when they started to drive by, then he turned and continued to do what he was doing. So probably was like taking the pallets, which I don't know if that's really such a big deal, because a lot of people don't care, but it looked like he was trying to pretend like he wasn't doing anything. And then when he came back, so when about an hour later, they take off, they're going to the movies, and they drive back by, and there's this grocery store, and they're in the back, they on the road, they're driving. Is it working?
Yeah.
There it is. And so they're driving down that same road, and they see what looks like the guy who was messing with the pallets sitting in his truck. But he's like leaned back, and like it looks like he's partway hanging out of the truck. So when he drives by, he looks over to his left, and he tells his girlfriend And he tells her, he says, that guy looks like something's wrong with him. So she kind of leans forward. She goes, and we were just sitting at the light, and you could see him kind of like pulled off on. He's not behind the grocery store like he was. He's kind of off to the side, and he's facing the wrong way, but he's on the curb. And so then they were like, well, maybe he needs help. So they decided to be nice. I wouldn't have done it, only because nowadays you don't know. You know, these are young people, and I'm telling you, stopping and helping people, to me, it's almost going to become a thing of the past, because there's so much dirty, nasty stuff that people pull. And you can't just look at a person and go, oh, well, they look decent, whatever. Ted Bundy looked decent too, didn't he? But then you get into trouble. So, you know, I told him, I said, you're nicer than me, because I would have just called the police, whatever. And this is just me telling you for your own safety, because you never know what people are up to. So they did a U-turn. They went back and they were going to help this guy. When they get up to the truck, they pull up next to the guy. The guy's laying there like he's asleep. This is a weird story. This is not a real long, drawn out story, but it's weird as hell. He said what looked like the guy just kind of like just crumpled and went into the truck. Like the guy that was what they thought was a man leaning out turned out to be like an inflatable doll or something. And it just kind of was sucked into the truck. And then what popped up in the front seat of that truck, it was only a two-door truck. It wasn't one of those dual cabs, nothing like that. And in the back were all these pallets, was this black dog. A big, and they didn't describe it as a wolf either. They said it was like a big black German Shepherd. And it came up and like growled, snapping and barking in the window, and they just took off. Which, who the hell wouldn't? I mean, you know, it's like time to go. And then I asked them, I said, did you call the police? And they were like, well, no, you know, it's southern Cedar Park, northern Austin, which in that area, I'm going to be honest, there, and you know this area, which is not where we're at, but that area, mm-hmm. It's kind of hit or miss. Like there are homeless camps and a lot of weird people, like, I mean, weird. We saw somebody yesterday walking, we were doing the patrol, and they had their arms and they were slinging them side to side, and they looked like an octopus or something. I was like, what is that? Like, what is that?
Yeah, you see some characters.
Was that their arms? You know, what was, you know, of course, Nellie's like, we need to go back and see if they're okay. She does that with everybody. I'm like, no, we don't. Yeah. No, we really don't, because that's not okay. I can tell you that's not okay, because that person's arms are broken if they're doing that. And I'm sorry that the arms are broken, but I don't need something eating I don't know what that is. Is that a face hugger? You know, we don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't want to see if the octopus person is okay.
No. I mean, I'm just, we can agree that was weird, right? And it was dark. And she's like, was that a man, a woman? I said, they weren't even a person. What was that? Was the thing. That was John Carpenter's thing. That was the thing from the Antarctic. What is it doing here? But, you know, that's something that needs to be left alone. H.P. Lovecraft needs to deal with that. You need to call him and say, hey, H.P., you guys, one of your things escaped over here. The Necronomicon's calling. It's just some weird stuff. We've seen some weird stuff. Okay, another thing. About 3 or 4 nights ago, we saw a guy walking through our neighborhood. He looked really suspicious. It was like 1 a.m., and you could tell there's not a lot of homeless people over there where we live. And this dude looked like he was a traveling homeless guy. Like he was, you know, like, I work on your car for some vittles. And like, no, we're good. I don't know you, dude. Like, where are you from? What happened? Well, ever since the war. And then you turn around, he walks off, and there's like a big bullet hole in the back of his head. Yeah. You can see through him. He's a Union soldier that got left behind. Like, what? You were with Sheridan's army or something? Dude, no, you don't know. It's just, he looked weird.
Yeah. And
I busted a U-turn. I was like, well, what is this, dude? And this guy's walking towards our neighbor's garage. I'm not even joking. We turned around. He was gone. He was gone.
Couldn't find him.
And he was wearing blue. So you got 2 things going on with that. Maybe he's a Cowboys fan, or 3 things. Maybe he's a Crip, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe that's preferable, or maybe he's a dead Union soldier there to haunt and possess you. You don't know. I'm just saying, you really don't know. You know, that's, you know, I mean, he might work for Culver's. I don't know what he was doing. He's just
Best Buy.
but he was gone. We turn around, I'm like, and my wife's like, what? He couldn't have gone very far. I was like, no, he couldn't have gone very far, but he's gone. And he didn't live in the neighborhood. I know my neighbors. And I'm like, what was that? So anyway, it's a weird area. It is. So when they told me that, though, I'm thinking, what was that? The guy in the truck. Was this individual, did he, and I hate to just come out and it's just so weird. Like what was that a cast off skin? Was he a skinwalker? Was he pretending to, or did he change into a dog like thing? And then they pulled up and then he said, get out of here. I'm busy. I have two things I do. I shapeshift and I steal pallets from the back of grocery stores. I don't know.
Everyone needs a side hustle.
Exactly. It's hard to make it out there.
Full-time shapeshifter, part-time pallet thief.
Yeah, it is hard.
A pallet reseller, let's call it.
He's like, I got the dog in me. I
yeah.
got a lot of dog in me. I'm just saying. And of course, the people that tell you these stories, they're freaked the hell out. At that same movie theater, and I'll tell you the name of it. It's called the Movie Eatery or something. It's on 620.
Yeah.
It's on 620. A guy used to work there, gave me a story about a chupacabra that he claims that he shot in Rockdale, Texas, where I'm not from, but where I used to live. And I'm going like, dude, what is going on with this area? When we were working a site there years ago, back in, God, it's been so long, probably 2010 or 11, we were working there. And I remember it was when Thomas worked for us. And he's passed away. He's a guy, he worked for me for like 15 years, a long time. But he passed away. But he was telling us that he was hearing weird howling noises and that he would hear like what he thought was like pigs and that he would hear them fighting. And so Thomas being from the country, I thought, well, this dude knows what a coyote sounds like. And he kept telling me, he's like, Wolf, this is not coyotes. I don't know what this is. So it was called the Real Tex Project. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it. It's been a long time. And now it is a housing complex, apartment complex. It's a big old apartment complex. And so we all worked it. And so one night I was working out there and I was just, and I was listening to Dog Man Encounter. It's probably not the best idea. And I hear that and I'm like, the first thought in my mind was not, that's a dog man out there. The first thought in my mind was like, damn, that person can really imitate a howl, like a spooky howl, So you're sitting there and you're going like, what in the hell? What is that? And then you hear like all this screeching and it sounds like pigs because there were a lot of wild hogs out there. We found one out there one night that had been deceased. And I was like, what in the heck? And it sounded like they were fighting, but these were not coyotes. Coyotes are doing that. They make that loud, screechy, yipping noise when they do what they do. This was not that. And I can't tell you what the hell that was. But I can tell you this. I drove my patrols at yeah. And so everybody that would work there would tell me this weird stuff that they would hear. I quit poo-pooing it because at first I was kind of like, what? It's got to be coyotes. I don't know what that was. But that area, same thing. It's the same area where all this weird stuff happens. And so these people, they tell me that they saw this and they drove away. I mean, what would you do? It was just a black dog. It was just, So here's another one. And this one actually is pretty freaky. This one came from the woods of Wisconsin, in the northern woods of Wisconsin. And these people went hunting. It was their season. And they were not expecting, they were not expecting to see anything. And so this guy that was up, I'll just say his name, we'll call him Carter. He was up in a tree stand. And he was up there waiting. And he says it was getting really boring. And he says, I was a 20-year-old kid still, just 20 years old. He's 40 now. It was 20 years ago. It was 2005. And he goes, and I'll never forget. He goes, I'm up there and I'm thinking, I'm wasting my Thanksgiving doing this crap. He goes, and I'm looking at my phone trying to do anything. I'm not getting very good signal, but I got some. He's like, and then this thing comes out of the woods. He's like, and I'm thinking maybe it's a deer. He goes, I stop and I start paying attention. We had the deer corn out, everything, he's like, what came out of those woods was not a deer. He's like, it was crawling on all fours. He goes, and at first I thought it was a very hairy man. Then I thought this is a man wearing very tight fur. He's like, and then at first I thought it had like a cat-like head. But as it came out into the clearing, he goes, I realize this isn't a cat. This isn't a deer. And this damn sure ain't a person. He goes, this is a dog-like thing, something that looked like a wolf. He's like, this is 4 PM, man. He goes, and the sun goes down, earlier at that time. He's like, but I'm like, what in the hell am I looking at? He goes, and so he goes, I didn't have any binoculars, but I had my scope. He goes, and I lifted up and I looked, and this thing is not that far away. Now, Carter couldn't give me an exact estimation. He's like, I'm not real good with distance with yards and all that. He's like, so I had to guess. He's like, it was probably maybe like 200 feet from me, And so I said, okay, and so I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And he said, but at this point, he goes, it was coming into focus, and then it looked up at me. He's like, when it looked up at me, it stood up. Get this. And it walked over to a tree. And he goes, and it was like an upright canine. It was like a wolf, but skinny. And the weird thing about it, though, and this is the part I can't really get past. I don't know what this was. It went and hid behind a tree. He goes, but you could still see like one of its little, clawed-like hands. And he said little, like it wasn't real big. And I asked him, I said, estimate how tall you think it was. He said it was probably about 5'6", 5'7". It wasn't a big thing. And he goes, but it had these pointy ears and it had a little muzzle. He's like, and it looked like how a wolf looks like when they're younger. But he goes, but it was standing upright like a person, like a human being would stand. He's like, and it just stood there and it went behind the tree. He goes, and while I'm standing there and I'm watching this, he's like, I'm starting to get this thought in my head. Like I need to quit looking at it. Like it doesn't like me looking at it. And it was saying to me, don't look at me. Don't look at me. And it was very upset that it was looking at him. And he said, and then he goes, it began to crawl around the other side of the tree. He's like, when it got around the side that was like to where its back would be to me, he's like, the only thing that was in focus anymore was part of its arm, which would, I guess, assuming it was like a human arm, it would be like the forearm and the part of the hand. The rest of the body was becoming like pixelated. And he thought, what in the hell am I looking at? And he said that it just stood there like that up against that tree for about an hour. He goes, and then as it's 5 o'clock and it's almost getting dark, he's like, thank goodness. He goes, I got just a little bit of signal. I called my brother. He's like, and you couldn't take a good picture, from that, especially the 2005 phone was not that great.
Yeah.
And he says, I tried to take a picture. I tried. He goes, I tried and tried, and it didn't come out. And it just looks like blurry, pixelated, whatever. But he goes, my brother calls us, hey man, we're going to pack it in early. We're going to try to get, some Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving. Let's try to get some dinner before it gets too late. He goes, we can still make it. It was about 20 miles out. And so he goes, yeah, let's do that. Let's we can get back and maybe eat late, And so that's what they did. And he told his brother about it. He said, well, that night when they get back to his uncle's farmhouse and they told me, I was out there, hunting and I saw this weird thing. He said his uncle was sitting there and he was like, literally, my uncle doesn't like turkey. So he'll make himself like a roast beef. So everybody else eating turkey, he's eating roast beef. And he goes, he don't share. I don't know why he had to tell me that, but your uncle's a jerk, right? He doesn't share. He makes himself roast beef. He doesn't share. But anyway, he's sitting there. He's like, he's cutting the roast beef. He stops and he's like, wait a minute. He's like, where was this at exactly? What part? He tells him. He goes, and my uncle stops and starts thinking. He goes, my Uncle Joe's a old grizzled veteran. He knows, Vietnam vet, everything. And he looks at him. He goes, I know where you're at. I know that area. He goes, and you only saw one? And he goes, yeah, I only saw one. He goes, and how big was it? And when he told him how big it was, he goes, man, you're lucky. He's like, I personally haven't seen it. He goes, but I know about 2 or 3 people who've seen something in that area of Wisconsin. And he said, and that, what you saw, he's like, there are bigger ones out there. He's like, there's like a whole tribe of them. Like he called it that. And he said that he doesn't know what they are, but some people think that they are like natives that can change into these things. And so he told him, he says, you ran into a small one. It wasn't aggressive. It was just trying to hide from you. So that's crazy. But he's never seen anything since then. I mean, but like now, not to take away from what I said earlier, not to take away from like how when people encounter these kind of creatures or these things, they oftentimes will have like a phenomena, like a haunting or something that goes along with that. And this particular situation was no different. He said that nothing really happened that he can like put his finger on. He goes, but there was some weird stuff. Like he goes, I heard what I thought was like conversations happening right outside my bedroom. He's like, I was still living with my parents at that time. He goes, because I just couldn't get, get my crap together. He goes, I was engaged to be married when I was like 18, stupid. And he's like, and then finally he goes, I went and joined the military. He goes, but this was 6 months before that. And he said, so he would hear like conversations he thought was happening between a man and a woman right outside of his bedroom. And he thought, man, my parents are arguing. Because my parents were really pretty decent. Like they didn't argue. They didn't have a lot of problems. And he's like, so I'd go out there and I'd look. And I'd be like, why are my parents arguing? There's nobody out there. And then he goes, the weirdest thing though, he goes, I was going to my job and I had to borrow my dad's car because I totaled mine because somebody ran out a stop sign or a red light. He's like, and I was getting in the car and I see the tree branches moving, swinging. He goes, and I thought I saw this blurry thing go from one tree branch to the other.
Huh.
And he's like, and I look and I was like, what the heck was that? He's like, and then a few months go by and then I go and I join the Air Force and that was the end of it. But he said that when he got out of the Air Force, he went back to his parents' house and he goes, I was there for about a year and I got a job as a mechanic. He's like, and so I was literally there. We were in, his parents lived in Milwaukee. And he says, I was literally living in Milwaukee. And he's like, and when I was on call, I was a mechanic or whatever. And I had a job. I'd go and pick up cars. Like they wrecked their car. They broke down. We had a tow service. So he's like, so I would go and I'd pick them up. And he's like, and I'm driving out there to this area that, was kind of desolate, whatever. He goes, and a friend of mine's, I guess it would be his girlfriend's dad, had claimed to have seen a Bigfoot type creature out there. He's like, so I'm pulling up on the scene to help these people. There's two people, they're standing there. It's not a wreck, they just broke down. He's like, and we're all stunned because we see this, what looks like a just perennial Bigfoot, like just what you think of as a, it just goes across the road, just walks across the road. And the people that were there said that they had been hearing grunting and weird noises. And so they were freaked out. So they jump in their car. He goes, and I sat there. He's like, and then we're on the phone with each other, and they're like, yeah, what do we do? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, but I just saw that, whatever that was, brownish black hair. And it just was like 8 feet tall and looked like a Bigfoot. Now, here's a guy's perspective who has not seen, Carter had not seen he had seen the dogman creature in another part of Wisconsin, right? Which he said was the northwest part of Wisconsin. This part was a different area. He said, dude, I had seen Bigfoot now. So I told him, I said, what was the difference between the Bigfoot? He said, I saw it real quick. He's like, that little dogman thing, he goes, I don't know what it was. He goes, I was staring at it for a while. He's like, but like I said, it got kind of pixelated. And so he was saying that the difference was that dogman thing was much smaller and sleeker. Here's another weird sidelight to the dogman thing. It had a prehensile tail. Look up the word prehensile. I want to make sure people understand. So it's cat-like tail is what it was. We'll give you the exact.
It's adapted for grasping, especially by wrapping around an object.
Curious George. Now I know they say Curious George never had a tail. Bull crap, because I used to have all of Curious George's books. My parents bought them for me. They were like, hey, kind of looks like you. Look. And I was joking. Anyway, there was a prehensile tail. He said this thing was kind of like curled and like it was moving around ape-like or primate-like or cat-like. He said, it did not look like it belonged to a canine at all. That was the tail that was on the dogman type creature that he saw that day on Thanksgiving. This thing here that just walked out in front of, he's like, dude, it was Bigfoot, dude, I'm telling you. He's like, but I told him this. I said, Carter, what if those people would never have seen it? Like, it would be there. It would walk right. A lot of researchers, flesh and blood researchers, spiritual cryptid researchers, don't matter. I've heard a lot of them say that they'll be right next to you. You can't see them. They're that good at camouflaging and hiding, even something that big. Now, as hard as that is to believe, and a lot of people have told me that, well, I don't know if I believe all that. What if, because he saw that creature, it opened it up to where he could see whatever that was, that Bigfoot. And maybe those people would not have even seen the Bigfoot had not Carter pulled up, because it happened right when he pulled up. And then the guy, when they finally got their bearings, they called another guy, and it's a friend of his, right? It was a police officer, but he's off duty. But he showed up. He says, hey, thank you for that donation. We really appreciate that. So he shows up, and he says, man, you know, you don't know how many times when I've been on and off duty, I've been told about Bigfoot in this area. And he's like, told him and Carter start talking. Carter tells him about what happened to him, you know, several years ago. I guess at that time it was about 5 years ago. He said, man, it was about 5 years ago. He goes, and I was hunting. He told him where he was at. I'm not going to say where it's at because it's his family's land. But he said it was up in northwestern Wisconsin. And I saw this creature look like a wolf with a weird tail. And he said, but his friend was just kind of like, oh, okay. He'd never seen or heard anything like that. But he told him, he said, when he started talking about the pixelation and the blurriness, which I should have said that it was blurry too. He said, man, there's a bunch of people who told me that when they see this Bigfoot, that it turns that way. Like it starts out like that. And then, yeah, even if like broad daylight, they'll be like, oh, it's a Bigfoot. And then when they go to look at it, they'll take a quick glance and they'll, oh shoot, what is that? They go back. It's like it's blurred. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's a weird thing. So that makes me wonder, like when he pulls up, what if he had not pulled up? Would that couple, that middle-aged couple, would they have seen a Bigfoot? Right? So that makes you wonder, like, to me, that was the fascinating part of it. And that's all, the whole thing's fascinating. Don't get me wrong. But that part right there was really weird. And then to top it off, like after the Bigfoot thing, he says, people had always told me that my grandmother's house was haunted. I never believed it. I never thought, blah, blah, blah. He's like, but when my cousin Elizabeth would go over there, weird stuff would happen. And she claimed to have been an alien abductee. He goes, and I wake up one day. He's like, and I'm sleeping in my cousin's room. This is about a month after the Bigfoot thing, right? He's like, and I'm sleeping over there in the middle of summer. He's like, and I'd go to visit my grandmother. And he goes, and I'm up there, and his grandmother is half Chippewa, right? I'm sorry, Menominee. He says, and I'm sitting there, and I'm laying on the bed. And he goes, and there's this toy box. Now, when we were kids, we had these boxes. We call them the toy box. I was probably the last generation that had a toy box. A toy box is just like something where you threw like the bigger blockier, like a Tonka truck. Like I had one of those big blue, like Tonka trucks. And then I had like a Nerf football, and I don't remember what else I had in it. Like I had some like a Raggedy Andy doll, which I didn't like. I stuffed it in there because I didn't like it. And I had one of those little turtles that would go real fast. I had one of those, and that's what I had in my toy box. I mean, I don't know what other people had in theirs, but everybody I knew had a toy box, right? That's just what we called it. And so I know kids nowadays don't have that, but anyway, he said that the toy box, he wakes up and there was this. It didn't look like a kid. It looked like if it was like an older teenager, like maybe like somebody in their late teens or something, and they were rummaging through the toy box. And he's like, "Who are you?" And he said his grandma's house, and his cousin was sleeping downstairs, the weird one that he calls a weird one. But he said, "Dude, there it is. There's this," and then it vanished. So there was like a person that's messing with his toy box, and he said then after that, there wasn't anything really that happened until he got married. And then his son started claiming to see some weird stuff. And now he's got a weird story. But one day maybe we'll get into Carter's son's story, but that's not tonight. So anyway, that what do you think of that? I mean,
well, it's an example of like whenever you encounter something that's not of this world, right? And if that's your first experience with it, and we see this in a lot of reports that we get. Like oftentimes, that's your first encounter with the strange and paranormal is probably not going to be your last. And I think that's
It's like an
because
introduction.
yeah, like it's probably not going to stop there. And I think that the average person actually encounters the paranormal like on a regular basis. We don't realize it. We rationalize it away, and just kind of shrug it off because it's a way of like mental self-defense. But once your preconceived notions of what reality is are shattered, but when you see something that you cannot explain, that something that should not exist, that it's a Pandora's box. There's no going back, which is why it's so common for whenever we get reports of people seeing Bigfoot, aliens, skinwalkers, ghosts, whatever. They almost always have other phenomena, other types of experiences with different aspects of the paranormal slash cryptid, whatever. Which to us is it's all connected. It's all part of the same whole. There's no division between it. But that's why it's so important, Wolf, whenever you talk to witnesses, that you don't just isolate certain you don't isolate their one encounter with this one thing. You go in depth and you get the whole story of everything they've encountered within their entire lives, because that's where you get answers. That's where you find some kind of answers to some questions, which is important.
Yeah, and so many people, though, that's the problem, is that they want a story about a Bigfoot or a dogman, but they don't want to take on whatever else it is that this person has encountered. And then they just like, well, that sounds good, your story. But the rest of everything you're talking about, that's an inconvenient truth.
Yeah.
We're just going to have to, we can't, we can't get into that. We got to do something else. What is Ace talking about? He said that I attacked Tony. Is Tony in the chat? Where's Tony? Anyway, I don't even know where he's at.
What the heck? Say some weird stuff there, Ace.
What is he talking about? What do you say now?
Nothing yet. Just his chat history is just kind of random weird
He
stuff.
physically attacks Tony like normally. What? Dude, get this dude. This has got to be Ike and these people. What is he talking about? Tony's, I'm not really sure what he's talking about. I don't know, Tony. Answer truthfully. Do I attack you? Never attacked that dude in my life. I've wanted to. Believe me, when he broke my trucks and my vehicles and everything.
It's funny how people get quiet once you notice what they say.
I don't know what he's talking about. Ace, you need to explain. Leave him on there. Don't block him. Let him explain himself. Because I think I know this is not a normal person. He's over here. See, this is the kind of trolling that they do. This is what they do to Abe all the time. And then people talk crap about us. There's always somebody weird doing something, saying stupid things because they want to mess with us. They want to mess with people. They don't have jobs, folks. Like I said before, none of those people have jobs. So this is what they do. This is how they spend their time.
You have the floor, man. You want to pipe up and explain yourself?
Mm-hmm.
We're all here for you, man. We're all waiting on you. Let's give Ace Outdoors some encouragement.
Tony's
Pump him up.
Tony, let's call Tony and see if he's all right. Let's see if he's been, because Tony and him and Scorp are doing a job. See what Tony has to say about this. Okay, you're safe now. You can talk.
You're in a safe space.
How many times have I beaten you? You need to tell the audience.
It's numerous times. I mean, I couldn't score a single win against you in Mortal Kombat.
Dude, I remember you and Zane used to get so mad, especially Zane.
Well, no, you know what? I was probably the only one that came closest to winning against you in Mortal Kombat. I could at least win a couple rounds. Everyone else just got their butt whoops.
Yeah.
So,
Because I'm a house bully, though. Everybody knows that. I bully everybody, and so
well, when you use Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, yeah, you virtually bully everyone
I'm good with Scorpion.
on that game. It's
Like,
hopeless.
Scorpion is like, get over here.
I've never been good at fighting games, but still, like, that's ridiculous.
That's not even my best game. Street Fighter is my best game.
Yeah.
Street
I
Fighter.
didn't bother playing you in Street Fighter.
Well, here I thought Tony was like some great video game player. Then we played Gladius, and he couldn't even make the buttons. He couldn't even do the buttons right.
The games I play, I whoop your butt at any game I play.
You don't play nothing but those role-playing games. There's no competition there. RPGs.
I'll whoop your butt at a single-player game.
Shooting games.
No, I'm good at those too.
Mental ability, right?
Army of Two? No, come on now. You know I was good at that game.
It took you a long time to spit that out, Ace.
What is this guy talking about?
I thought you were angry and trying to attack Tony. My mistake. What would give you that impression? You want to take another 5 minutes to answer that question?
What is he talking about?
It's so weird, dude.
I would never mess with you. I thought you were angry and trying to attack Tony. Tony? Is he talking about you? Are you Tony?
I don't know.
You're assuming you are? Well, I'll let you get back to work. I just want to make sure you were okay and you weren't being attacked by me.
I moved out in the first place. Everyone knows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. You supposedly, you moved out. You left because you're getting attacked or whatever. All right.
I don't know what I do without Banjo protecting me.
Well, that's why nobody can mess with you because Banjo, he'll go at him. He said he had some acid outdoors. No, Banjo does. Banjo will spit. Tony has trained him to spit acidy spit at you if he thinks he's being threatened. Rhonda says, "Hey, that's a good question for the audience. Who is everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat character?" That's weird, dude. Yeah, Randy said, "Ace, why would you think he was going to hurt Tony? It's not a real person. That's Ike over there." Trying to build some kind of narrative that I'm some kind of weird bully. Tony is a sweet soul. I misunderstood.
Misunderstood what?
Okay.
There's nothing to misunderstand.
Yeah. Okay, Ace. Who are you really, Ace? Why don't you tell us? Are you from? I'm hearing banjos. All right, Tony. I'll let you get back to it, man. I'll see you. Anyway, I just thought I was kind of worried though. I'm thinking maybe somebody did something to him, and we need to go check on him because maybe they're trying to blame me. And these people are crazy, dude. You see the kind of random weird stuff. Just go to Paranormal or what is it? PRT News. Go look at the stuff they say. Go look at the crazy stuff they say. It is off the chain nuts. Saying crazy things. The most recent crazy thing the day before yesterday that was really bad was. What they say that
that you proclaim to be the lady?
Oh yeah, I literally they said that on my show that I said that I was the Lady Bird Lake Killer, and then they said, "Oh, he took that episode down." What in the hell? What? Why would you make a show and then go, "Oops, I pretended to be the," and then they said I was singing a song. What was the song? It was so funny, dude. It would be funny. It wasn't so sad.
Parody, something you were just doing off the cuff.
Oh, they said something about Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
This was Mr. Fisher saying that I was singing Bohemian Rhapsody, and that I said I had killed a man, and that I confessed to being the Lady Bird Lake. What in the hell? When did I ever say that song and say that I was the Lady Bird Lake Killer? This is what these people come up with in their mind. They dream up the weirdest shit you will ever imagine, and then they just just post it on up there, and then they tell me that the feds are watching me. So you're going to tell everybody that they need to come and grab me before I sacrifice somebody to the devil, save somebody's child, because that's going to happen on my high holy day of Halloween. And then they said that whatever. But anyways, I'm not going to say anything else. I'm sorry. This person made me upset because they're sitting there messing with us, trying to say that I hurt Tony. Like, get out of here, your stupid selves. Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah. And let's get to the next story. Hold on, I got a guard asking me a question here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so our guard is saying, "Is Tony okay? I heard he's being abused." And say, "Oh my gosh!" I'm joking. That's not what they just.
Being abused by his dog Banjo. Banjo's pooping in his truck. Peeing.
I'm not laughing at Tony if he was really hurt, but it kind of makes me, thinking, well, they say something like that, and what if they tried to do something to him or something, I don't know. These people got you they're so weird. So anyways, here's the thing. We were talking about, so we had this weird black dog thing, and it wasn't directly behind a grocery store, but when you stop and think about it, the areas behind these stores, they're not frequented very much, except for maybe by homeless people or people who are maybe trying to steal or, do something like that. Ace says, "I'm glad he's doing well." Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, Ace. I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna go ahead and just put you in timeout for now because I had enough of you. That's just weird and it's just
Take forever to respond anyway.
Tony said, "I gotta go bruise myself now." You see him in the car, rah, rah, punching himself in the face.
Yeah.
Some resident comes up. "What are you doing?" I joined a cult. I need to get out.
Smacking his head into the steering wheel.
There you go, Quack. Medical fund for Tony. Everybody donate to Tony. Folks, please, let's show these people by donating to us. Show them how much you disapprove of the abuse of Tony.
Tony needs health insurance now.
Yes, he does. He needs to get a better health insurance. Tony says Fight Club style. So
because getting beaten by a wolf is no joke. I'm telling you.
Have you seen these guns, man? Look at that. Look,
you can do a lot of Tony beating with those arms.
But point of fact, you could do a lot of Tony beating without big arms. You don't really need a big arm to do a lot of Tony beating. There you go. Justice for Tony. Tony.
Tony.
And then Horm says, "I'm kicking my ass." For just $20 a day, folks, you could save Tony from beating his own ass.
Tony therapy fees, Sean. Yes. Tony has therapy fees and medical bills that he's got to pay.
Yeah,
because of his beatings.
But I think maybe I thought you were the Tony. Maybe they thought I was beating you. But how would you think I'm beating anybody? Like, what are you talking about? Everybody knows if you're going to beat somebody in the house, you're going to abuse the women folk. All right? I just walk by. I'm like, "Oh, you're still there, Nelly?" And then I because Maddie's so small, I just suplex her with my hand. Just boom, just real quick, like a flick of the wrist.
Just toss her out of the window.
Yeah, there you go. Just throw her. It's just like a Nerf ball.
Slingshot.
What is that? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing like this, folks. I'm sorry. What is that? What is that show with the little thing that goes? It has a little spear. Trilogy of Terror. Trilogy of Terror. Let's go, Maddie. Calm down. Punch. It was flying up the ceiling fan. Woo! Oh shit! Whatever. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be making all these jokes. It's funny, man. I'm just, Mama. Okay.
Save a Tony a day.
Stop it. Stop laughing. Stop it. Gotta get back to the show.
Yeah. Gotta get back to the being scared.
Okay. The spooky vision. What's it called? Spooky vision.
Yeah.
Show everybody that you're not bruised. Let's make sure.
We now return to your regularly scheduled spooky vision.
Spooky vision. Spooky fun. Where were we? Okay, what did I say? Okay, so we talked. I'm so sorry for that, folks. I can't help it when people. I have a sense of humor. Okay, and when he says I'm spooked, you're thoroughly spooked. But whenever somebody, I just can't. Just so, I'm telling you, man. I'm sorry. Whatever. It's just so stupid. So what were we talking about? We're talking about. Okay, so there were these people. They saw this couple. That saw this. What looked like this was so weird. Like a guy, like a skin, like he deflated, and it like something. It was almost like something yanked it down, and then this dog-like thing popped up. What do you think that was? I mean, let's get back to seriousness here. What do you think that was?
That's a tough one, dude. Skinwalker. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would be.
It's like it's kind of hard to categorize some of these things. They just get weirder and weirder. Got the Band-Aids.
Thank you to those who donated to save this poor little Asian boy who we know he was just possessed at the beginning of the month. Can you believe that's already been almost 3 weeks? But unlike some people, we actually, when we did that investigation, we went back to this studio right here and we broke down all the evidence that we had.
Mm-hmm.
All the evidence that we collected that night. And poor Tony, he was possessed. And the only person that abused him was you. But you technically weren't abusing him. You were abusing the spirit that was in him.
Yeah, I was abusing the demon that was inhabiting his vessel. So whenever I was smacking Tony on camera, I was smacking the demon. The demon felt it. The alien mama ship, the demon that came off the alien mama ship that we encountered. Tony wasn't feeling that. The alien mama ship demon was. And I heard it so bad. Yeah, the pilot. The alien mama ship pilot. And I heard it so bad that it left, and I exercised it by just smacking the crap out of him. And on that video, when you see Tony going, okay, that's enough. That's the exact moment that the alien mama ship pilot demon left his body, because then Tony felt me hitting him, and that's when I stopped.
Yeah.
Because we do not abuse Tony.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
Only me. And it's only the
big bad wolf.
Yeah. And it's only the when he's possessed by the devil, the demon, whatever.
Yeah.
But that night there was a special occasion. I was driving, so I couldn't do my normal Tony abuse and beat him and all that. So Anthony had to take over and beat the demons out of him, whatever. And then Tony got mad. He's like, I'll abuse you now. Okay. Well, anyways, we have fun here at PRT, all right? But it just that could have been a distraction, but it just ended up being stupid. I mean, I don't know. It's just, who knows? Okay, so that is something that I can't wrap my mind around. I don't know what that is, and the people that told me the story asked me what I thought about it, and I said, if I had to tell you exactly, what I thought about it, then, I mean, you might think I'm crazy. And I said, but it could have been a type of shapeshifter or skinwalker. And the guy was just like, yeah, no, that's as plausible as anything else. Because you don't know what the hell it was or what it is. So anyways, we had that story. And then we had the one with the mother and her daughter who ended up, and an interesting thing about that too, when she talked about that silver ring, like protecting her, what made her think, like, this was beforehand. She said she thought that the ring was giving her some sort of protection.
Yeah.
The silver, I don't know if turquoise being a protection, but that was a weird thing. It was a really weird thing. And then you had this other story of the guy in the woods. And of course, later on, he sees a Bigfoot and he sees this weird apparition of a person messing with a toy box, but it wasn't a child. Interesting thing about that was that everybody had always said that his grandmother was haunted. Now, here's the thing about that ghost that I thought was very interesting. His cousin passed away when he, not in that house, but when he was 4 years old. He said that it would have been about 16 years when he saw that ghost. I said, how long ago was it? He said, probably about, let me do the math. And he said it was 16 years. Yeah, 16 years. And I was like, okay. So 4 years old, 16 is 20. What if, this is a ghost, that was looking in the toy box. And I know that sounds weird. Like maybe people don't really understand. Like people will report this though. They'll report a child passing away. And sometimes, or I think most times, it would be like the child stays looking young. But there are cases where it seems like the child is growing like he would as a human, like in a human body. Right? So that's a weird thing. Another weird thing too, to think about, and we are going to be doing a show, folks. We're going to start this in November. We're shooting for November. It's going to be a little bit of true crime mixed with paranormal. Would you guys like that? And because we were watching that show, and it gets kind of weird. It gets kind of, I'm not going to tell anybody, hey, go watch it, because it gets kind of rough.
Yeah, it's kind of over the top at times.
It's kind of over the top.
I had to look away.
Yeah, it's called Monster, right? Ed Gein. And Ed Gein, he was one of the weirdest. He wasn't the first. Now, people don't realize that I think Albert Fish was a lot worse than him.
Yeah, he was before Ed Gein.
H.H. Holmes was another one. And they killed way more people. They were way more. But it was the weird things that Gein did. And it was the fracturing of his mind that set the stage for what I believe was a spiritual obsession. And I would love to go into the depths of these people's minds on these episodes and talk about the spiritual aspect of it, because I think almost always that seems to kind of just be left on the table. Now we've had the Anna show come on and talk about Baumeister and his weird ass with the things that he did on his property, and how haunted that is. Think about this, and this is something that a lot of people probably don't think about, because the crimes that these people commit are so heinous and so twisted. How haunted are these people's properties? How haunted were they when they were alive? Some of these people are obviously gone now, thank goodness. But let's take Gacy or Dahmer, either one of them. Look at the things that they did, right? Bundy, you can't really, because Bundy was all over the place, and he was doing it in all these different places. But Dahmer and what's his name, fat ass Gacy, they were doing it at their houses. Like Dahmer, predominantly it was done at his domicile, and Gacy, of course, was at his house. Look at how many people they murdered there. Look how many people were underneath the floorboards of what's his name, Gacy's house, right? And you stop and you go, that place had to be crawling with spirits. So anyways, I'm just saying, we're going to try and do one on the random files. We're going to start using it to go in depth on these individuals. We're going to do one at a time. We're going to start with Gein. And I think it'd be something really cool. Not the shenanigans that they did, but to go into the mindset of these people and go and delve into the spiritual aspect of this and look at it from a Christian, people that follow Christ and understand the spiritualness, going from a PRT perspective, and I think that we could do it justice in a way that nobody else can. I personally, and I'm bragging here, I'll be honest, I think that we here at PRT do this subject like nobody else. We tell history like nobody else. And Dick Richard says, leave me out of this. Well, stop dumpster diving over there in Tim Hortons. Timothy Horton. I made that joke to the guy, Timothy, and he didn't know what I was talking about. I said, Timothy Horton. He goes, I was like, you don't know what that is. He just got quiet. I was like, you know what that is? He's like, no, sir, I don't. I'm like, okay, sorry. Never mind, Timothy. Fine. Okay. I'm kidding. But so you have a dog man, you have a black dog, and you have a skinwalker. What are they? And why are they different from one another? A lot of people will say, well, this is what I think a skinwalker is. This is what I think a werewolf is. This is what I think a black dog is. This is what I think, this, whatever, a dog man, but you don't really know. And there's really no way to know. All we know is that they are upright canids of some kind. And we can't tell you 100% that this is quote unquote what it is. You know that people go out into the woods and see things all the time. People are in town and see things all the time. This last story I'm going to tell is not a real long one either, but her name is Mary Beth. And this is weird. Her daughter, who we'll call, which her name is Miranda too, but we'll actually call her Melindra just for sake of the story. That's weird. Mother and daughter, two of them, both M's. So Mary Beth had this weird encounter. She was living out in the country. This was in Kentucky, but it was out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm not going to say exactly where, because not that she didn't want me to, but I don't want certain people going over there and harassing them or whatever. But when she talked about this, her family, and now this area of Kentucky is known for horse racing and things like that. Her family was really involved in that, but she just kind of did it as a job. And it wasn't something she was very passionate about, but her daughter, Melindra, got real into it. She was like, I like this. I'm sorry, that my mom's not into it, but, she told her grandparents, I'll do it. I'll be into it. It's something that I want to do. And so they had this mare, and that was all her that she wanted was this mare, and she wanted it to have give birth to a colt. And then when that happened, the mare was going to go back to where, to her, I guess her brother's farm or ranch, whatever. And she was going to raise this colt for no other reason than she was just going to use it as a pet and then ride it. It was just going to be her particular horse. And that was it. And then she and her mother were going to continue to work on her grandparents' horse ranch. She goes outside. There was a guy that they had hired, and for sake of whatever, because he was technically an employee. His name starts with an S, and we'll call him Sean. That's not his name. But Sean was a drifter who claimed he was from Western Tennessee, and he got a job with them. This was back in 1994. And he had told them that he had worked at this place, all these different places, right? And he was very outgoing, very, very likable, but sometimes he would drink. At least that's what they think. They thought that he was a drinker because sometimes he would get in these weird moods and he would just say weird stuff and do weird stuff. And then one day he was out in the barn doing what he had to do, feeding the horses and everything for her parents. And Mary Beth says that he had a seizure. And he went and he was, whatever. So they took him to the hospital, and the doctor told them that he had extremely high blood sugar. He was diabetic, and they didn't know it. And that can make all kinds of problems. So what ended up happening with this guy, he wasn't like, according to them, he wasn't like he was doing things that were making them suspicious. He wasn't stealing anything, but he wasn't getting along with some of the other ranch hands. And one of them said, this guy, I don't know what it is about this guy, but when I went to see the doctor, which is the same doctor, he said that the guy's blood work was really weird. Like he goes, I've been going to that doctor for 15 years. He goes, this guy is really weird. And this is the head, the ranch boss, what do you call it? The guy in charge, whatever they call it. And he said, look, he goes, and I forgot, what is the name of that when that's going to drive me nuts. The person that runs the ranch.
No.
Oh God, dude,
Ryder.
No, man, I was raised around. I should know better. Anyways, he's the boss, right? And he tells him, he says, look, I talked to this doctor. So he confides in one of the other workers. He says, this guy's blood work is weird. It's all screwed up. It doesn't look normal. The doctor told him something really weird. And we'll get back to that in a minute. No, not a foreman. There's what they call him. There's a boss. There's a name. We have a name for it. It's like what do you call that? It's like not a nickname, but like a
title.
Yeah, it's like a title. But anyway, it don't matter. It's not important. And so this guy, he gets to know this doctor, or he knows this doctor, and he says something's wrong with this guy's blood work. This guy's not normal. This isn't like a normal diabetic thing. his blood sugar was high enough to where it should just kill him. He shouldn't even be alive. And so eventually, when her colt was born, he volunteered to go and stay out there at her place, at Maribeth's place, to try to take care of the birthing and all that. So him and one of the other ranch hands go and they help with this. The next day after this colt was born, it disappears. Like the very next day. This ranch hand disappears too. The guy that had the weird blood sugar, whatever. 2 days before this incident, he had been, someone had seen him, this is allegedly, running nude through the tree line of her parents' horse ranch. And she said that this was odd. And the person that said that, though, thought, well, maybe he's on drugs. They tried to accuse him of being a drunk, but they couldn't prove it because he didn't drink. But what was up with his weird behavior? Why would he go into these weird behavior? Would he babbling and stuff? Another thing that was weird about him, too, was like he had a very hairy face. Now, that alone doesn't make you weird, but she said that it was like he had to shave every day because he would grow a full-on beard that covered his mouth, everything. And it was like every day. If he missed like 2 days, you see him up 2 days, and he had a full-on beard. And he had very hairy arms and legs. He was just a very hairy guy. And it was weird. It was a weird, weird thing. She said there was a lot of red flags. We just didn't, nobody would think that somebody could be like, what we thought, the conclusion we came to. He's seen running through the tree line, and then they find a deer with nothing but the head and the backbone. Draped over, and this is a buck, draped over, not a big one, but, still, she said it was a buck. And the spine is still intact, is draped over a low-hanging branch. They questioned this guy, Sean. They said, why were you out there running around naked? He says, well, I'm part native, and that's what we do. But he just looked like a hairy white guy. And natives are not like overly hairy people.
No.
And so they thought, well, this is weird, like, why is this guy out there running around in the woods, whatever. Then he goes to help them with the birth of this foal, and what happens? The colt is born, everything's fine, but the next day the horse goes missing. Not the colt, I messed up. The horse, the mother, the mare, goes missing. The horse is missing. It's supposed to be taken back to the farm and then sold to a neighboring ranch, and they don't know where this horse is at. He's missing too. So everybody says, hey, this guy, whatever. But then the next day after this disappearance, he shows back up. And he said, oh, man, I went to town and I started drinking and, ran into some old friends. And he acts like he doesn't know what is going on. He's like, I don't know what's going on, man. And so the ranch boss is telling him, I think that there's something weird here. You're there and all of a sudden now this horse is gone, whatever. About a week goes by. He gets into this huge fight with these people. And he says, well, if you don't trust me, you think I did something. Well, I'm out of here. So they tried to actually fight him and detain him to call the police. He ends up beating the hell out of like 3 guys, like it's nothing. And then he runs off into the woods and they don't see him again for like a week. But then a week later, they find bits and pieces of the animal strewn along, like somebody had been throwing what was amounted to just gnawed on bones, like somebody had thrown them from a moving vehicle down this country road. And they said, and they found the horse's head, much like they found the head of this deer stag up in the. And so they thought, this is so weird. Now, if it was this guy, what is he doing? Is he eating these animals raw? What is he doing? Why is he doing this? Like I said, about a week goes by and somebody sees him in a pasture, walking through a pasture in just a pair of jeans, no boots, nothing, with a shirt slung over his back. And he turns and he looks and they drive right by him. When they drive past this guy, he's about 40 yards into this pasture. He's got blood all over his mouth, his face, everything, all over his chest. And he's a really hairy guy anyway. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. And so they just keep going, right? Nobody saw this guy change into anything. Like they never saw him become like a beast, Mm-hmm. it was all just speculation. And Mary Beth said, you know, I never in 1,000 years would have thought, you know, like werewolf. She goes, but I thought werewolf. And I said, well, what made you think that in particular, like werewolf? She goes, well, because around the area where that deer was found slain, she said that there were these humongous wolf tracks, and it seemed like it was two-legged. Not human prints, but something sort of in between. Like the pads of a wolf mixed with like the footing of a human. And she said that really made her think that maybe there was something beyond what was and so, like I said, there was never any sighting of a werewolf, dogman, skinwalker, or nothing, but just if you just did the math, you know, and what do you call it? Like, I guess if you're looking at circumstantial evidence, right? I mean, what do you think? The guy was never seen again after he was seen in that pasture. They did do a follow-up. The ranch boss did a follow-up on, and he did call and check on 3 of the 4 references. They had never heard of this guy.
Huh.
The name he gave was obviously not real, and I don't want to confuse everything because there's a name that he gave. But they also told them that there was the description of him didn't match either. One of those places, one of the 4 places, did have a description of, but the name didn't match. But they said, I think that's old so and so. And yes, he does look that way. They described him as being a very weird guy who, at dinner, every chance he got, he would eat raw meat. And he would take his clothes off and go running into the woods, according to a couple of the ranch hands there. They also, while he was in the woods, heard weird howls and scratching and weird noises, and they found trees that had been scratched up and marred. Yeah. That ranch was in Tennessee, though. It was across the border. But if allegedly, right, if this story is to be believed, what would you think? Nobody sees him changing or nobody saw a werewolf or even a wolf for that matter. So it is purely speculation. But if you were a betting man, would you put $100 down on this guy being
Absolutely.
I
That's the
mean,
first thing I would think. I
a
mean,
lycanthrope?
me being me and then seeing the world the way that I see it, like there wouldn't even be any question in my mind. Like as crazy as that might sound to like just like the average person, it's not crazy to me because the paranormal to me is just part of the normal reality. It's part of the real reality. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the stuff that these people see, the things that they encounter, we are living. That is the real reality. It's everyone else who denies it is living in the fake reality.
Yeah.
It's not real. This stuff is real, but this denial of it, this world where it's just fairy tales, that is not real. I don't care what anyone says.
And Tucky Yasha says that being rich and owning racehorses, not immediately checking references, is very typical rich behavior. These weren't racehorses. So, I mean, you know what? I don't know. They didn't tell me what kind of horses they were, but they did check the references and the name didn't check out. And it sounds like he wasn't around for very long. But here's another weird thing about this. When Mary Beth told me this, and her daughter, Melindra, who decided to take up, working for her parents or whatever, one of the things they said that he was very disarming. And when he would talk to people, he was very good, almost hypnotic at getting people to just relax around him and not think things, So he may have done this to this ranch boss until, until the weird behavior escalated. Then he checked into it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these ranches will hire people. There's no chat. What's going on? It's not popping up there.
Let me see.
A lot of these, let me see if I can go back and see if we can do it. Ranch people won't check references and won't, because they're drifters. They'll just hire whoever. More so with like cattle people, but Yeah, horse ranch, typically they would, but they didn't until the behavior got worse. And I think that you can attribute to that to his disarming personality and him being able to put them at ease, like, oh, I'm just a good old boy, blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, well, he's whatever the hell he is. I can't say he was a werewolf because I don't know. Nobody saw him changing. That is the linchpin to that. Where's the chat on the other side now? Oh shoot! What did I do?
What was it?
Just 1 second, folks. I just messed something up here.
Oh, you can just close that.
I tried.
Oh, yeah.
What's Morgan says here, Bill? Andres has a good question. How old did he look? Yeah, that is the question. He looked like he was in his mid-30s, so middle age. I know a lot of people say, well, mid-40s is the middle age. Yeah, if you're planning on living to be 90, but who does? So middle age really is about 35, but yeah, 35, 40. No, Luke, I didn't find out if they monitored moon phases or anything like that. I didn't ask that because that's something I really don't believe in much, but I guess I should. Yeah, you never know. I mean, you never know.
The moon is a whole weird thing in and of itself. Wasn't always there.
And then Takayasha says, I say that just because I knew someone like that who owned racehorses and they had zero danger senses. Yeah, that's true too, because you would think that wealthier people would be a little more, like, what is the word I'm looking for? They would be
Cautious,
more
guarded.
I am not able to think today. Like they would be a little more concerned,
Thorough.
discerning,
Mhm.
right? Like he'd be like, well, you're wandering around with no clothes on, But at that point, they were already looking at him. But prior to that, though, he's still just some drifter. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah.
Why do they do that? I don't.
Plus, rich people are weird. I mean, hell, they probably ran around naked in the woods themselves. I'm just saying. People with money lots of money are
these
weird. Dude.
bourgeois people.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, exactly, Wedge. That's a good point. This is why PRT has the best chats. We have the best chats, 100%. My eyes are burning like hell. Wedge and Tilly says, encounters like this make me think there's something to the old custom of using real silverware when you have strangers over for dinner. Note to self, buy silverware. Silver is really expensive right now, so we may have to melt it down and make our own. But then when someone comes over, you give them the silverware and you watch.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, no, I brought my own. They pull out some plasticware. You're like, aha! I knew it. You're a freaking ravenous beast.
Werewolves love microplastics.
Yeah. So anyways, folks, that's all we got for tonight. We were actually doing the mail-offs today, and then because we changed places, because the goofy people know where we do our mail-offs at, we don't want them knowing anything about anything. We decided to change places. So we will have for you soon, we will have the new mailing address. Folks, do not, if you're listening, do not mail us anything to that old mailing address. We have changed the mailing, the places that we do the mail from. And tomorrow we will get our box, and we will have a new mail place to mail off to. So we'll be doing the mail offs tomorrow. But for tonight, now, since we're mailing off tomorrow, you have a very rare opportunity to give us your information and maybe get your stuff sent out tomorrow, first thing tomorrow. So we're doing a giveaway. We got hats. We're gonna do a hat. How about hats? Who wants a hat? If you want a hat, tell me. And all you got to do is say, I have not won and I want a hat, because there are lots of people who've already won. And if nobody in a timely fashion says that they have not won, then I'll pick somebody who has. So
We also got plenty of cool beanies too.
we still got beanies.
Yeah, got a whole box of them.
Well, who wants a beanie? You want a beanie because it's going to get colder soon. So especially in the East Coast, it's supposed to be a hell of a winter.
I'm gonna grab one.
Anybody want a beanie? Percy Rest says, I did win, but I never got anything. Okay, then what you need to do is resend your information to Josh. Let me do the banner here. Hold on. Giveaways at PRT Podcast, right? Giveaways at PRTpodcast.com. Please send your information to that. It's at the bottom of the screen, giveaways at PRTpodcast.com. And if you do that, then you have an opportunity to get sent your stuff. We will be able to send it. This is the beanie he's talking about right there. We used to have some with red.
Yeah.
We need to get some more made for the wintertime.
But I think the black and silver looks the coolest. For your mind, did you ever get your stuff? Because I know that I talked to you on Patreon, and your name was on the last round of mail-offs that we did. So if you could, please let me know whether or not you got your shipment.
Did you get your stuff, Holmes? Did you get it? Huh? Did you get your stuff, Holmes? West side? I can't even do it. Some kind of side.
Hey, Randy, we're going to send you one too, along with your tumbler.
Yep. So, yeah. This is the beanie right here. This is one of the keychains. These are the keychains right here. See the keychain, Holmes? It goes with this beanie, Holmes. See it? Orale ese. What's this backwards? It goes. There it is. That's the other one. Right? East Los Holmes. Totally look like a Latino. I look very Latino with that band. That you're all like, oh, whoa! I didn't know he was one of those kind of people. Woo! Hard to say some Spanglish. I didn't know it was all that way. I didn't know he was all into that. Straight out of the barrio, man. All right, guys. Who wants a beanie or a hat? Tim Pool. Who's that? Wendy? What are you talking about? So who is Lynn? Lynn Bohm, I have never won. And if you look at Lynn, she looks like she has good genes. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say.
It's racist.
I'm not into eugenics. I'm just saying you look like you have good genes, Lynn. That's all I'm saying. You look like that.
That's racist. You can't say that.
You know, King Day.
You're offending the
We
minority.
protested, and now Donald Trump is not the king. He was going to be the Burger King of us all. Good thing he's not. Edna, some of you all essayed out. That's right, Holmes. I said that's it. Right. So who? Let's see. We got to pick somebody here. Wendigo says, "I haven't won. I'd like a hat, please." Okay, Wendigo. You have a weird, freaky name. Okay, you win. How about that?
It's an actual Wendigo.
Yeah. Let's take pictures with our hats. Wendigo politely declines.
Yeah. The address they send us is like they just send us coordinates, and it's somewhere in the middle of the woods, in like Arkansas or something.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Paul Williams says, "I do, brother. Beanie, it's cold in Wisconsin." Paul, you win too. Then how about that? What else do we got here? So Lynn, you won. You got good genes, Lynn. Mike Ramon, he says, "I haven't won yet." Well, how about that then, Ramon? You win. All right, so who do we got? We got Ramon, Lynn with the good genes, and then we got who else? Paul Williams. Paul, since supposedly my real name is Paul. No, my middle name is Paul. But hey, I'll let you tell it. Whatever.
Cody
you tell it to the
Edmondson
courts. How about that?
says she hasn't won.
Who?
Cody Edmondson. She's been
I
with us
haven't
a long
won. Would
time.
love a hat. Cody, you are special. Okay, you are a special person. I'm going to tell you what happened with Cody, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. I don't lie, and I don't pull any punches. Cody Edmondson came to my first conference, and I'm going to tell you right now what happened. I was not making excuses, but I was very busy. There was about four. It was at that time, I think it was probably about 300 on that first day that all showed up, and then 400 altogether, 425. I think the final count was 427, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the door. So we had 427 people come through there. Don't have a conference and have everybody show up if you're not prepared to greet everybody and be cordial and friendly with every single buddy there. I didn't do that on that first conference because I was so stressed out and I was trying to do, and please as many people as possible and be nice. Cody Edmondson is a super fan who said that her and her husband came all the way to the conference, and I just kind of was like, oh, hey, what's up? And then that was it. I didn't, give them the polite attention that I should have. There's somebody who came all that way. And she voiced this to me, that they were excited to meet me, and I wasn't as polite as I should have been. She didn't say I was rude. She just said that I was, maybe she did say I was rude. I don't know. But I apologized for that. And I called Cody because that's the right thing to do, and be a man and say, you know what? I did this. And if I did this and it made you feel a certain way, I apologize. And I told him, you come to the next conference on me, VIP, I'll give you everything possible but she couldn't make it, unfortunately. So Cody is very special to me because I hurt her feelings. And I should have done that. I should have been more attentive to any and all listeners. And I tell you what, that taught me a lesson, because that second conference, I did everything I could to give as much attention to every single person. There were over 600 people that showed up at that conference. And I did everything I could to try to be as nice and as accommodating and as friendly to the 600 plus people that showed up over the 3 days of that conference. And so that taught me a lesson to try to be, because you don't know who when you just go, yeah, hey, what's up? And you blow people off, then you don't know who that person is. Right? So there you go. I've had to learn lessons that way. And no matter how old you are, you still learn lessons.
Never stop. Never stop learning.
Yeah, you never stop learning. And so I just want to say, once again, I apologize, Cody, because I should not have, behaved that way. I was just, I know I was busy, but I should have given you the time that I give. As everybody should have been equal, not, I'm going to give this person time, but right now I don't have time for you. That ain't the right way to be. So we'll never do that.
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
When it's the first time you put on an event like that, you're still finding your footing.
Yeah. And angry German sausage, the real enemy is carbs. Yeah, no shit, right?
And sugar.
But this diet, though, man, I've lost like 10 pounds. And I'm not even joking. It's been 9 days. 8 days? 9 days. Tuesday will be 9 days. And it's what it is it's 16, it's 8 hours. You have an 8-hour window where you can eat. Now, that don't mean you can just eat up all kinds of stuff, but you have 16 hours where you don't eat. And then this guy's brutal. Like, in order for me to get on the schedule I needed to be, Anthony's like, in order for you to get on the schedule you need to be, this is 3 days in, right? I did 16 hours, 18 hours. I don't know how I ended up doing 18 because we didn't know what we were doing, remember?
Yeah.
Me and Nellie were trying to figure it out. Anthony's like, I think you should do this, whatever. And then he was wrong. And then he looked into it and said, okay, let me fix it. But he says, you fatty, you got to do 28 hours straight. And I said, why the hell do I got to do 28? Because if you want to get on that schedule to where you eat after you work out, then you can't, And I said, well, how about I just, I eat after 12 hours and then we'll try to, he goes, well, you can do that, but you'll be messing it up. You'll be cheating and you'll be fat. I said, well, I'm fat anyway. It's not going to change anything right now. And he said, well, just, do what you got to do, but you're a weak little bitch if you don't. I said, God damn, why do you got to talk like that? Horrible. That's a horrible thing. That's what my enemies say. They call me those kind of names.
I mean, it's a good
I go to bed
though.
crying and I suck on my thumb. You call me a little bitch and I'm fat. No.
If I'm merciless, it's because I think highly of you. Because I know that
I respectfully do not believe that. I believe you're that way, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. You got to remember too. Now, this is a small head person. He's got a tiny head.
Weak people need mercy.
He's got THS, tiny head syndrome. The tiny head syndrome also goes along with the millennials. Every third millennial born under the phase of the crescent moon is a tiny head syndrome baby.
Well, you can say that all you want, but
I'm gonna say it again. You're a tiny head syndrome baby.
Okay, but the proof is in the pudding, right? You fasted for 28 hours and you did it, right?
Not literally died.
But
I wasn't even hungry. I just wanted to live.
But here you are now, right? As I knew you would be, because you are a strong person. I know that about you. That's why I'm like, you have to do this.
And because I have a huge ego, I'm like, yes, I'm a strong person. I have a huge ego. And now you have played on that ego, and you are correct, sir. Absolutely. I'm over there like, yeah, strong. Yeah, he said all the right words, man. All the right words. That got to my ego, and I'm like, yeah, 20 hours is not freaking eat. It's okay. I'm strong. You know how it goes. The Zika. Pie Baker. That's what I was going for. Sean said it too. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it because it's a Zika head. You know, my man Batista's got that Zika head too. He's a friend of a friend. I don't like his politics, though. But I told my friend, I said, "You tell him he's got a Zika head." He goes, "You tell him that." I said, "I would, but you got to introduce me to him."
It's that vegan diet he's on.
Then when I get to meet him, I'm going to do this and be like, "He said you had a Zika head." I personally just want to know some things. That's it. He said some things. My friend knows how I am. He goes, he knows. You do that. You put me on the spot. No, I'm not like Anthony. I don't do that. That sounds like something Tony would do. That's why he would get abused.
Oh, of course.
He gets a pin-panned. But I'll tell you this. When you have a person, like Anthony, he really was just trying to help. But this is what he really told me, the real truth. No joke, no no chuckle house. What he said was, no, you could probably just break it up. And what'd you say, 14? And then you eat and then go another 14. That's what you said.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest. I said, no, I'm going to do it. And I went 28 hours without eating. And here's the kicker. I wasn't even hungry. Because amazing what eating 4 large pizzas and 2 buckets of chicken will do before you go on. And the ops over there like, you hear what he said? You hear what he said? He admitted he ate 4 pizzas and a chicken. He ate a box of chickens. No, but that didn't happen. No, seriously, though, on this diet, though, eventually you'll get to where you're like, when you come off of the fast, you're really hungry, but then you'll eat like 4 or 5 bites and you're kind of like, I don't even feel like eating, dude. Like, I'm already good. Like, I had a sandwich, just a regular sandwich earlier, and I'm not even. So toward the end of the 8 hours, because I'm going to work out tonight in about an hour. No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm going to work in about 2 hours. Then after that, then I will eat again, and then I won't eat it. But then there'll be a couple, 3 hours there before the 8-hour cutoff, right? But then after that 8-hour cutoff, because my time is 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. After that time, I won't eat again for 16 hours. And so far, day 9, and I'm fine. I've lost like 10, 11 pounds. Because at first, the weight just falls off.
Yeah.
Because this shirt's like I just put myself in the eye. But this shirt's just like baggy as hell. And I'm not going to lie, man. I needed to lose some weight. I'm like, man, I just got to be healthier. I just got to do it, man. Why is it Sean says he's trying to buy a hoodie and he said there's no
shipping option.
That's weird. And Deborah, you are correct.
I'm gonna have to look into that on the back end, Sean.
Jessica has something that she says here. She says, I want a hoodie in pink. I haven't thought about that. We had pink hats, but we haven't done a pink hoodie. Ladies, if I can get 10 of you in the audience here to say that you would take a pink hoodie, whether to buy or to be given one, I'll order some. But I need 10 people to tell me that. 10 women to say, I'm interested in the pink hoodie. Because I don't want to just be stuck with a bunch of pink hoodies.
You might be able to select that as a color on our merch store.
Really?
Yeah, because when you click over to the shirts and hoodies.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pink and black, Lawrence Morgan says. 8. Cody said 8. Cody, email me on that giveaways at prtpodcast.com and just tell us what you want. Give me your shirt size and tell me what you want. Okay. Look at all these people that said they know the pink. Okay. You know what? We need to talk to Josh. Yeah, I know a lot of Joshes and they're all cool. I know a bunch of Joshes and I'm going to talk to Josh and I'm going to get him to make those. We'll get them made. Which logo though? John, he says, I'm trying to get the military green. We might have one of those. I personally don't. If you buy the hoodie from the thing, I make some money a little bit. I don't care. The advertising is more important. I want you to wear it.
Yeah.
And I want you to go out and wear it. I don't care about the $8 or $7 or whatever the hell peanuts they throw us. And a lot of it we buy just so we can give it away. We want you to take it. For sure. We want you to take it and go and enjoy it. because you remember we got Maddie dancing around in the throwing spices, 11 herbs and curses.
Yeah.
She's throwing 11 herbs and curses, dancing around in the hoodies,
Doing that granny
the-
witch magic.
the smallpox. We're cursing it with the smallpox into the
Mhm.
merch. You know, you got to burn it. You got to burn it. You can't, you know. Andres says the site is working now. Andres just told on you, Sean. He said, Sean's lying. What was that, Andres? Andres just called me. Hold on, he's calling. He was like, what
Damn,
was
Sean, you got to fight him
that?
now.
What was that?
He just contradicted you.
Oh, he's a mentiroso. That means liar in Spanish. Sean's.
He's gonna take that, Sean?
Sean, you gonna take that from Andres? What are you doing? Why are you gonna call and talk? Why are you gonna throw him on the bus like that? You want to call him out on his lies? Okay, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's a magical phone. Sponsored by Monsters with the sixes. Oh God! All right, too much fun. We had too much fun. Too sexy. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna run, folks. I gotta go. I only got to do a couple hours of work. Then I got to go to the gym. But then after that, I got to get back on the book. Kudos to my brother who is totally fixing that book. And no, this is not a knock on Aunt Celine. She made the base for the book, following my instructions. I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm not the best author. Trying. I'm getting better. I'm a good orator. But taking all that and putting it into the book and orating stories that are not on the show into the book, right? And some theories. It's going to be there. I want it to be really good. Okay. So yeah. And then we are also working on the book. We're about halfway through of the book of the house that we lived in South Austin. My brother has interviewed people and he's even interviewed me. And I'm putting all of my 2 cents into it. And we're working it together. Yeah, exactly. Brought to you by the Leviathan. When I was a kid, I don't know, you're probably too young to remember this.
Viacom.
Viacom.
Yeah,
It was like Viacom. It's
Yeah.
Leviathan. It's just a seahorse with a thong on.
Yeah, that voice always sounded like a villain.
I know. Probably because it was just people that run in our villain.
Yeah.
That's why, you know. All right, guys, I really got to run, man. I got to get going. Thank you for tuning in, though. Thank you for making PRT what it is. Without you, we have nothing. We'd just be a bunch of people talking. This is the show, right? Thank you. And we're out of here. Peace. Thank you to everybody who donated, too, by the way.
This pain of coming back to life, I feel everything. When I open my eyes, your face, I'll never forget. Your horror, my pain, I'm alive, living again. I feel every stitch and every scar. Father, what's my purpose? Abandoned, left for dead, a monster. Why have you forsaken me? Accept me as I am. God, do you feel like a god, creating without thinking, no pros, no cons? You let me walk, you let me see, you let me feel. I found her, but she did not know me. I reached for her, but she recoiled in horror. I wanted to beg anything for her love, the look on her face. I want out of this place. Father, what's my purpose? Abandoned, left for dead, a monster. forsaken me. Accept me as I am. It doesn't matter, it can't matter no more. I'm incomplete, I'm missing me. The world is darker than I remember. I wanna love her, but this heart is not mine. I wanna touch her, but these hands are not mine. I wanna tell her I love her, but this voice is not mine. Looking into her eyes, I saw how love dies. Now that's where her body lies. Father, what's my purpose? Abandoned, left for dead, a monster. Why have you forsaken me? Accept me as I am. Revenge shall be mine, I'll catch you in time. You gave me the pain of coming back to life. I want you to see me, look what you've done, what you've done. A man no more from a madman's hands. I walk alone, no part of me is home. Place me back under the stone. Father, what's my purpose? Abandoned, left for dead, a monster. Why have you forsaken me? Accept me as I am. As I am.